College football on ESPN today from Kid Brewer Stadium in Boone, North Carolina. Cross-country matchup between the Mountaineers of Appalachian State and the Beavers of Oregon State. Yosef making his way into the stadium a little untraditionally, but the Rock is filled with fans here today for one of the most anticipated matchups in program history. Hello again, everybody. I'm David Jackson alongside Avery Hall. We're glad to have you with us today. And Avery, both of these teams are searching coming into this ball game. When you look at the tail of the tape, it's going to be about play in the trenches and ball security.
Absolutely. Both of these teams have had tough competition in the last couple of weeks, but they would like to play clean football here today because, again, both have been kind of struggling with the turnover bug, struggling with playing, converting on third down and protecting the football. But if they can play clean, the team that can play clean today will have a lot of success.
Appalachian State has had 14 turnovers on the season already. That leads the nation, going up against a defense, Avery, that's starting to find itself a little bit more in Oregon State. We'll talk about that storyline as time goes on. There you see the head coach of the Mountaineers, just his second home game. That's Dowell Loggins, the head Mountaineer, 2-2 on the season thus far. App State playing their first home game in about a month here at Kid Brewer Stadium, and they come home at an absolutely beautiful time of year. On the other side of the field, we have Trent Bray, the head coach of Oregon State. Coach Bray has never been to Boone, North Carolina. He said he's made it as far as Charlotte, mostly spending his career out on the West Coast, of course, and his family, for that matter, are deeply entrenched in all things Oregon State. So the second-year head coach, longtime Beaver as a player, as a coach. He was actually their very first quality control coach ever in the program. So he's got his fans and team in a different part of the country today for, again, what we said is one of the most anticipated home games in quite some time. It's the fourth time since App State moved to the FBS ranks that they've had a power conference opponent. Now, I know that Oregon State's kind of in a transition of what the Pac-12 was and what it will be, but nonetheless, this is a team that you see frequently in those kinds of circles. So App State's got an opportunity with a little bigger stage here at home at the Rock today to try to play up to that and perhaps put the jolt into their season that they need at this time of year. Beautiful day here at Kid Brewer Stadium. Chamber of Commerce weather all the way around. This has got to be one of the top 5 weather days of all time. Temperatures hovering right around 70. Just a few clouds in the sky. Great day for football as we are underway. App State kicking off to Oregon State to start things off. And the kickoff returnable here for the Beavers as they'll roll out to the 25-yard line and get this started as David Wills Jr. does the honors, and Oregon State goes to work offensively with somebody that's not a stranger to North Carolina necessarily. Malik Murphy, the talented redshirt junior quarterback by way of Duke and Texas. Everybody in North Carolina talking about Murphy's year at Duke last year, Avery Hall, and then it kind of surprised everybody in the state when he took off and went west.
Well, when he went west, I think a lot of people probably thought that he wanted to go and have a change of scenery, but I don't think he had a choice at Duke with Mensa coming in. But he's found a home in Corvallis with the Oregon State Beavers, and we'll see what he'll do here today.
Hands off to Anthony Hankerson, one of the more decorated running backs in Oregon State history. And he is put down by DeNigel Cooper on the first play of the game. Short pickup for an Oregon State team that needs to run the ball more effectively. Only 93 yards per game on the ground. That is in the bottom quartile of all FBS programs in the country. Second down and 6, a 4-yard pickup for Oregon State on the opening drive. Driving toward the sunshine. We'll see how the wide receivers play with that as they twist their head around and get a glimpse of that orange globe in the air. Handoff Hankerson again. He tries to run through the middle of that App State defense and finds the sledding tough to the 31-yard line. App State, on the other hand, pretty stout against the run this year. The Mountaineers only 84 yards allowed. That's top 15 in the country. Running the football defensively has been a strength of this ASU defense.
And Appalachian has decided to kind of line up really in a 4-2 type scenario in between the tackles. And as you can see, Malik Murphy's doing the claps because he's trying to see what the defense is going to do. Is that safety going to walk up? Is that linebacker going to move out? And again, Appalachian's just kind of in their base defense saying, look, we're going to try and stop the run here today.
Murphy looking for his first pass play. Got a little bit of pressure coming, and that pass slips out of the hands of the intended target. Ethan Johnson in there on the coverage of Taz Reddix, who couldn't quite caress that football enough at the line to gain on the first pass play of the game.
Take care of Malik. Again, he knows where he wants to go. He tries to roll out to buy a little more time. Just great pressure and great by the defensive line, but great coverage by Johnson there.
A.J. Windsor, one of the top punters in all of the nation, actually broke a 14-year-old Oregon State record earlier this year against Oregon, averaged 53.4 yards per kick. That was a record that was held by Johnny Hecker, longtime NFL punter. A little wobbly kick that will actually roll past, take a great Beaver bounce back inside the 10-yard line. Mountaineers going to have to try to make some noise. Back to the 15-yard line comes Jaden Barnes. So now App State with their offensive look, and perhaps a new look as we see the black and gold come out for the first time under the direction of J.J. Cole, the redshirt sophomore out of Ankeny, Iowa.
Job well done, my friend. I'm glad you had to say that and not me.
Ankeny, Iowa native J.J. Cole, his first start for the Mountaineers. We'll get to the reasoning behind this here in just a moment, as Cole gets set to operate from the 14-yard line of his own territory. Rashad Dubinion, one of the top 4 running backs in the country, immediately behind him. Cole will go play action on the first play with heat coming. Fires one downfield to Dalton Stroman. Rolling catch for a 13-yard gain on the first play from scrimmage for App State.
J.J. Cole looks very, very comfortable. Again, that's one of those routes where he's giving this receiver time to find a little spot underneath that zone coverage. Great execution with the receiver on the route. Great throw by Cole.
It's Cole's 3rd completion of the year. He was 2 of 4 for 36 yards against Charlotte in his Mountaineer debut. That was back in the season opener. Mountaineers first down on their first possession. Handoff to Dubinion, straight up the gut. He runs across the 35-yard line, picks up nearly 9 yards on first down. So Dubinion with the carry. And we see App State going to a ground attack, Avery, against an Oregon State defense that gives up chunk yardage. That's been an Achilles heel for them defensively this year.
They've been giving up over 400 yards. They've allowed a lot of explosive plays, over 50 explosive plays already, which is like 132nd in FBS. But again, that was just great execution up front by Appalachian's offensive line. Little zone blocking, great seal blocked by the Jaden Ramsey, who's out on this right tackle side, did a good job of, Shamar Jackson sealing on that right side.
Another handoff to Dubinion across the 40-yard line to the 42, and we'll have enough for the Mountaineer first down. Talk about Dubinion with the carries, 22 per game. That's 3rd best in the FBS. You throw in his receptions out of the backfield, he's touching the football about 25, 26 times a game. We've talked about durability. That was an early season talking point as you take a look at his production. He has been durable, and that's something that Dow Loggins is going to have to lean into as you approach the midpoint of the year. Cole again firing, and this time off the fingertips of his intended target, the tight end Isaiah Cummings.
Talk about durability, DJ. You know, a lot of running backs really they get lathered up when they get over 20 carries, and he's just that type of back. I mean, he's had 3+ 100-yard games already this season. Like I said, averaging 22 carries, 128 yards per carry. He gets better as he has more touches and more possession. So hopefully we can continue to feed him the football.
Trig Lewis with the carry off the left side, and tries to run through arm tackles to Kari Hickle on the stop for Oregon State. Similar defensive scheme that the Beavers run comparatively to App State. Talented edge rushers off the sides, interior tackle spots, a couple of linebackers that play the nickel look quite a bit. So you see kind of what some may call the 4-2-5. Those edge players can come from anywhere, and their pressure has been heating up over the last couple of weeks. Here's a pass downfield by Cole, and that's caught one-handed style right on the Oregon State sideline. Davion Dozier on the grab for the first down into Beaver territory.
Take a look at this. Great throw by J.J. Coles. He throws this ball from a position perspective only where Dozier can catch it, and the DB's not paying attention or can put an arm back to impede the football. Great throw, great catch.
Davion Dozier's first grab of the ball game. You'll hear his name a lot here today as he is getting more playing time as some training camp injuries have begun to heal as Kanan Hamlet gets the catch out on the sideline. Dozier's been active in practice the last couple of weeks, but you have to have some reps before you can just go and insert a new player into a new offense and say, hey, go get it.
Yeah, you got to have some chemistry with the quarterback, and it's been tough. You know, you had A.J. Swan injured, and you've got J.J. Cole stepping in. You know, I think last year had you had Dozier and Caden Barnes more active, I think you have a little different outcome. So it's good to see these guys get involved early here today.
Dubinion trying to catch that ball on the screen and gets gobbled up quickly by Oregon State. Great read. Nico Taylor from that edge spot, the first one to him. Oregon State scouted that well.
You know, you clearly see some strategy here by Appalachian State's offensive coordinator. He's trying to play, you know, throw and get that horizontal passing game going, and that's really just trying to get the ball into the hands of playmakers early and allow them to, you know, create opportunities in space. But right now, Oregon State's doing a pretty good job of running sideline to sideline, stopping that horizontal passing game.
Oregon State about 36% on third down defense this year. App State at the same mark on the offensive side of the football. We'll see who wins the third down battle. Cole with a little bit of pressure. Cummings releases across the middle, has the first down as he creeps toward the 30-yard line. So the Mountaineers get a conversion. Actually, not a first down conversion. He is short, got back to the original line of scrimmage. And we'll bring up a 4th down and 9, and this will bring out the kicking unit for App State. Dominic DeFreitas, who's 4 of 5 on the year. They'll spot this football at the 39-yard line, so a 49-yard effort. DeFreitas 1 of 2 from that distance so far this year. At a 47-yarder against Charlotte on his first career kick. This into the Miller Hill end zone for the first points. On its way, it's got enough distance, and it splits the pipes. DeFreitas puts the Mountaineers on the board to start. 8:21 to go in the opening quarter, and the Mountaineers have the first 3 of the ball game here in Boone.
Timeout on the field.
Welcome back to Boone, North Carolina. 3-0 App State in front, and right now at Kid Brewer Stadium, a tender moment. Sean Clark, the former head coach of App State, good friend of ours, passed away unfortunately just a couple of weeks ago. Head coach of the Mountaineers up until last year. He was a player on one of App State's best teams of all time back in 1995. He was, sorry, this is tough. He's a Mountaineers Mountaineer.
I tell you, it never gets easy. And prayers for his wife and his kids. Hope that God dispatches his angels around his family during this tough time. But
and maybe a little help from above, as Oregon State coughs it up on the kickoff return, and App State's got the football inside the red zone.
Yeah, Sean Clark had his hands on that. Hey, thank you, Mountaineer. But no, great guy, great husband, great father, great football player. My son was fortunate enough to play for him here at Appalachian, and just a good guy. And we're going to miss him. We'll miss his presence. And again, just continued prayers for his family.
An amazing tribute to him here at the Rock. We'll see if the Mountaineers can take advantage of what Ronnie Porter forced on the kickoff. And Oregon State continues to be beleaguered in special teams. They have had a rough go. Missed field goals, botched punts, kickoff return that's fumbled in plus territory, like double plus territory here from the spot of the football. And these are the kinds of things that Trent Bray is saying are stacking up against his team. He said he needs to see something positive for his club to try to get out of this rut that has seen them start 0-5. You see Rashad DeBinion carrying down to the 11-yard line. Dexter Foster on the tackle for the Beavers.
You mentioned that Coach Bray talked a little bit about this team needing a spark. Well, this Appalachian team needs a spark after the last two football games, one against Southern Mississippi where they had a lot of turnovers, as likewise at Boise. And that's the type of spark, this turnover deep inside Oregon's territory has provided a spark for this Appalachian State football team.
Cole looking for the corner. Put that pass only where Stroman could catch it. It's off his fingertips and out of bounds. Jalil Tucker in there on the coverage and blanketed App State's premier weapon in terms of targets pretty well.
If you take a look here again, nice throw, throwing only where Stroman can catch it. Jalil Tucker got a gift. That's pass interference in any football league, whether it's NFL, college, or high school. That's pass interference.
See, Oregon State is not in a league right now. They're kind of independent at this moment, so that's why maybe it wasn't called.
That's why they got away with it. He just got a gift.
Cole rolls on 3rd down and 3. Mountaineers trying to punch one in. Spin move is denied at the 7-yard line. That's going to be close to a first down. Trey Glasper in on the stop of Jaden Barnes, and they will give a favorable spot inside the 8-yard line and give App State a 1st and goal. They'll actually mark that at the 6. That was an incredibly generous spot on Barnes' catch. So inside 7 minutes to go, App State trying to add to a 3-0 lead. Cole with DeBinion off his right. That's Barnes in motion. Cole on the keeper. The sprint and score. Touchdown, black and gold. J.J. Cole might have been brought in for the arm, but it's the feet that put the first touchdown on the board here at the Rock.
He's got big feet. He runs hard. When you're 6'7", 245 pounds, and you've got an offensive line that's playing pretty well right now, knocking Oregon State off the ball. All you really have to do is lean forward, but he put a little umph and a little juice behind that run. Great job of making the decision not to throw into a bad situation, but to manufacture an opportunity there.
Dowell Loggins, his head coach and offensive coordinator, said he's a mobile guy that makes good decisions on when to tuck and run or when to release the football. And Cole dials his own number up. The kick on the other side of that touchdown is good, and the Mountaineers have started out with a 10-0 lead here at the Rock. Again, thanks to number 61 for making that one happen. Mountaineers up 2 scores and boom. Back in Boone, as we give you a look at Avery Hall's summer home, we remind you to get all of your ESPN college football all in one place with that all-new ESPN app. I've downloaded it. It has been fantastic. You can unlock the ESPN's unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. I think I watched like 6 games on that thing within the span of 5 minutes last weekend. So again, the all-new ESPN app, download today. That's not the summer home?
You know what? That home does not even appear in my best dream. So I only wish that was my summer home.
Maybe it's their summer home. They're dreaming of the same thing. And on a day like this, who would not want to be here in the summer, fall, winter, spring? This is one of the all-time atmospheres for football here at Kidd Brewer Stadium, and a fantastic start for the home team thus far. App State with 73 total yards. They got a little bit of help after a fumbled kickoff return by Oregon State set up App State inside the red zone, and they converted a score and a touchdown at that. And that's something that Dowell Loggins has been preaching quite a bit over the last few weeks. When you get the opportunity in the red zone, got to put 6 on the board, not 3.
Got to put 6 on the board. So again, a couple of things. I mean, they've been efficient on offense, converting on third down. They've not turned the ball over. Guys are executing. Receivers are catching the ball, not dropping the ball. Quarterback's doing a good job of placing it where he needs to. Just good overall offensive effectiveness.
Malik Murphy finds Trent Walker, one of his favorite targets and one of the premier receivers in all of college football. Dylan Haas knocks him out of bounds. Walker with 4 career 100-yard games. He had 103 last week against Houston. He is the 5th all-time, or rather 5th active receiver in terms of yardage right now coming into the year with 1,372 yards. Tack on another 8 to that right now as Walker continues to pace the nation in terms of his current prowess. 2nd down and 8. Handoff goes to, I believe that's Hankerson once again. Rondo Porter in on the stop. The Porters have been making some noise here today. Rondo's brother Ronnie was the one that forced the fumble on the kickoff return. Now Rondo Porter, the defensive tackle, in on the stop of Anthony Hankerson.
You know, he's 6 foot 295, and you know, he plays bigger than the 295 because you really want a space eater inside and guy who can handle that gap responsibility, but at the same time move around. And he does a pretty good job. He's been very, very valuable on that defensive line. Play
action. Murphy with plenty of time to look. Now fires off the safety valve and overthrows his target Hankerson out in the flats. Could have had enough real estate for a 1st down gain there, but Murphy just got a little happy with the throw.
You know, that was probably a decision that if Malik could have it back, he would. He clearly was going through his read progression, and that read progression was probably deep to short. He didn't see anything deep, but he probably got excited because he saw the receiver out there in the flats, and he didn't have anything but real estate in front of him. He just overthrew him. But Appalachian's defensive front needs to put a little more pressure on Malik. He had a little bit too much time to throw there.
Hankerson, the pistol setback. 2nd down and 10 for the Beavers. Another play action rollout. Murphy off his back foot. That pass sails high and nearly picked off. Eddie Freeoff was the intended target. Zaire Gamble in coverage for App State.
Trying to roll Malik out to give him a little more time because, again, a little pressure coming. He felt like a little pressure was coming. He just overthrew the guy there. And again, just a tough throw that he probably wants back. He had enough time to throw it in the right spot so the receiver could possess the football, catch the football.
Ryan Gunderson said to us earlier this week that he needs Malik Murphy to take the kids to school, to just drive the bus. Don't do anything outside of your game. Just let the offense work at your controls. Needs this on a 3rd down conversion. Here it sails another pass high and out of bounds at the same time. Looking for Taz Reddix over on the Mountaineer boundary. Threw it about 2 rows of folks into that App State sideline. So Oregon State gets turned out on their 2nd 3rd down opportunity of the day.
Great coverage in the secondary, but the genesis of the play started with good pressure on the quarterback. I don't think Malik had a chance to step into that throw. Again, just a little too much muster. He's 6'5", 234 pounds, so he's a big guy with a strong arm, but putting a little too much muster on it.
Elijah McCantos was in the coverage there for App State. Meanwhile, A.J. Windsor to punt. His first one was a 60-yarder, and this one is another that sends Barnes backpedaling inside the 10. Nearly gets clipped there, now back out to the 20-yard line as he gets loose from that Oregon State special teams defense. So the Mountaineers with some real estate back as we take you to break here in Boone. 5:04 to play in the opening quarter. App State out to a 10-0 start on a gorgeous day here in the High Country. Back to action here at Kid Brewers Stadium. App State leading Oregon State 10-0. Mountaineers with points on their first 2 possessions of the ball game. J.J. Cole getting his first start in black and gold. 6 of 8 passing for 45 yards in the first quarter of play. And Avery Hall foretelling that there was indeed a penalty on that play. As Cole tried to pass across the middle, there was a little interference there.
I got a little excited because, again, I'm watching Oregon State in man-to-man coverage, and a receiver's coming up doing the crossing route. He just literally gets almost tackled. And you could tell J.J. Coles was kind of licking his chops because he's excited to see man-to-man coverage and a guy who's about to
pass
be wide
interference, open. Defense, number 7. Penalty enforced at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
DJ, we call games together, but I'm a former player. I still get excited, buddy.
John Love is the official today, assigned out of the Pac-12 conference. Dexter Foster was the holder. It's got to be tough to be a referee with a last name of Love, knowing that not a lot of people give referees love these days. I hope he gets more from the crowd. Here's Dozier again, this time not held up, and he might not be touched the rest of the way. Inside the 10-yard line, first and goal, Mountaineers at the 6. Davion Dozier welcoming himself to the faithful here at the Rock.
Take a look at this. J.J. Coles, he knows he's got one-on-one coverage over here on the backside. He knows DJ has a step on the cornerback. Outstanding read, outstanding protection up front. Perfectly positioned football. Great catch by Dozier.
Trey Glasper gets back to him, the touchdown saving tackle. Dozier's grab sets up App State inside the 10-yard line. DeBinion scoots left, bounces off a tackler inside the 3. We'll call it down at the 2. Ty Wallen in on the stop for Oregon State.
Good job right now by ASU's offensive line. You know, Poindexter's out, who was a tackle. We got a lot of injuries on that offensive line. But right now they're playing really, really good football together. Jaden Ramsey, Caden Sweat, Will Flowers, Trent Ramsey, and Shamar Jackson are looking pretty sharp here at the Rock today.
DeBinion the pistol back. Handoff, right side run, and straight in. Touchdown, black and gold. Rashad DeBinion. App State has opened up a 16-0 lead to start this one here in Boone.
He actually walked into the end zone and barely had a palm touch it. I mean, just outstanding job by Shamar Jackson, Trent Ramsey, and Will Flowers on that right side. And just good run by DeBinion of just keeping his shoulders square and moving forward. Good vision. Just good blocking up front by that big offensive line.
DeBinion's third rushing touchdown of the year, and boy, App State could not have asked for a better start in front of a packed house in a game that they really needed to get some positive momentum in before heading into the bulk of Sun Belt Conference play. Kick is up and good by Dominic DeFreitas. We'll go back and take a look at this catch that set up the score by Davion Dozier, because it's impressive in so many ways. But I also, as we're going to have the opportunity to show that to you, I want to send a special message out to those App State faithful that maybe have a little bit of program experience and understanding exactly why Davion Dozier is going to have a little deeper place in your heart here. Watch this catch. We'll talk about the catch first. Amazing release and perfect route run there. Dozier's first career catch was a touchdown against Western Carolina. See, he was a Mountaineer before he even became one. That was at Arkansas. His first collegiate touchdown catch against the Catamounts. So, again, for the long-timers, you'll get it, you'll appreciate it.
Well, he stepped into his new role really, really well.
He did. He did.
That was also just a good, a nicely thrown football. I tell you, you know, J.J. Cole, he's doing a good job of putting the football or positioning the football well on every throw. I've been really, really impressed with the way he's been throwing, not only the strength of his arm, but the accuracy of his arm and his read progression, you know, whether he's having to, you know, go off of timing of the route or going, you know, attacking the defense as the defense, you know, what they're giving him and how he's kind of reading the defense. But he's doing a great job on all fronts there.
Well, Malik Murphy ready to get back to it. Murphy actually got knocked out of the game late last week against Houston. Remember, this was a game Oregon State had won. The final 6 minutes would prove otherwise, as Houston made a massive comeback, won the game in overtime. Murphy injured his hand, missed a little bit of practice time this week, but was given the all clear by the Oregon State staff midweek. You see a little bit of extra bandaging there on that right hand as he hands off once again to Anthony Hankerson, who has been the only Beaver carrying the football today. Fourth time for about 14 yards. Colton Ferris in on the stop for App State. I'm sure that Oregon State fans are kind of wondering, where is Cornell Hatcher? He had such a huge week last week, kind of a breakout. 17 carries, 93 yards. Earlier this week, Trent Bray said, we've got to get him the rock more. We have yet to see Hatcher on the field here this afternoon, at least at the running back position. Second down and 8, a 2-yard pickup for Hankerson, who is nearing a top 25 ascension in terms of all-time rushing at Oregon State. Instead, it's a pass play across the middle to Walker. Catches and then lost the football late. They'll likely say that's down by contact as Walker was rolling around on the ground, and I believe that is indeed the case.
It was a completed catch. The runner was down.
It looks like he was down around Kent calls a fumble. Actually, Malik Murphy just made a great read. I mean, you see the tight end had gone in motion, so and the safety had to back off. He knew that this receiver running that inside slant would be wide open. Did a good job of reading the defense and getting that ball into the receiver there.
So Walker's second catch of the ball game is indeed a completion. And Oregon State with the football, 1st and 10 from their own 43. Trying to get across midfield for the first time this afternoon. And Murphy will put this ball in the belly of Hankerson once again. Dylan Manuel in on the stop for App State, along with Colton Ferris.
You know, this Appalachian defense is playing very, very well today. And you know, it's a case of, you know, just complementary football. The offense is not turning the football over. Receivers are catching passes. Therefore, when the defense is out there, they're being very, very effective and efficient. I mean, they've been holding opponents to 35% on third down, so they played well all season, but they're getting help today.
2nd and 7 for Murphy and the Beavers. Will flare pass out. That caught. Flag down on the play across midfield. The ball was caught by Zach Card. And coming into the boundary area, but there's a flag back at the 46-yard line.
That's either going to be illegal
Offside.
lineman downfield. Or, oh, it's on us. Wow. It's on Appalachian State there. I thought I saw a lineman who had gotten just a little too far downfield, but
Caleb Pitts called for the encroachment there. So Oregon State will get the penalty-aided first down movement of the chains into Mountaineer territory. And these are the kind of drives that Oregon State had some success with against Houston. They had some clock eaters last week, 6-minute plus, 10-play plus, scored on both of them. That gave them some of that early momentum against the Cougars. Maybe trying to dial up another one of those methodical trips down the field once again as the pass is complete to Gabe Milborn, the redshirt senior tight end. He picks up about 5, maybe 6 yards on first down just inside the 40. DJ Burks on the stop for App State.
Gabe Milborn looks like he's on block, and then he runs that little crossing route, gets underneath the defense. Kind of, you know, DBs lose coverage, linebackers lose focus of where he is. Good throw by Malik, and good catch by Milborn there.
Best offensive rhythm for the Beavers here this afternoon. 2nd down and 5 from the Mountaineer 39-yard line. App State showing a little blitz, backs off. There's that handoff to Cornell Hatcher, who takes the right side run, nearly gets the first down gain as he stopped short at the 35-yard line. So about a 3rd and 1 call coming up as Hatcher gets his first call of the day. He had 2 uncles that played at Oregon State, said he wanted to be an Oregon State Beaver since before he was in high school. Got that opportunity with his breakout game last week, and one of his uncles said, hey, I got to say to all these people around me, hey, that's my nephew down there playing the game.
I'd say he had a good week last week, like you said earlier, 17 carries, 93 yards.
That'll take us to the end of the first quarter. Cornell Hatcher will have the football in his control likely as we start quarter number 2. It's been all App State thus far here at Boone, 17-0 at the Rock. One quarter in the books here at Kid Brewer Stadium. It's electric here this afternoon. You see App State with a long-standing record of dominance. 124-23 since the 2003 season. Most of these kids weren't even born yet then, but they have brought the energy today. 17-0 start for App State as Oregon State starts this second quarter of play with a first down gain. Anthony Hankerson doing the honors, and Oregon State moves the chains on what has been a little bit more methodical drive. Seventh play, about 43 yards thus far. And this is kind of what the doctor ordered. It started fast on Oregon State today with the turnover that led to the first touchdown of the day, early field goal by App State. This is Oregon State kind of pumping the brakes a little bit and saying, hey, we're here to play as well.
That last play was just power football. He lined up with two tight ends and just ran the ball straight at the Mountaineers to get the first down.
Here's Murphy, fakes the toss and rolls backward. He's got a flag on the play as well as Walker comes across the middle and makes the rolling catch inside the 20. So if the play stands, Oregon State's inside the App State red zone. But hold everything here.
Appalachian,
another penalty on the Mountaineers. That's another thing
offside,
to talk about.
Defense in the neutral zone at the snap. Penalty is declined.
Talk about clean football. They obviously a lot of turnovers over the last 4 or 5 ball games, but also to a lot of penalties. Almost 37 penalties over the last few ball games. And you got to find a way to clean that up. That's a before that kind of line up in the neutral zone is something that it just shouldn't happen.
Here's Hankerson trying to get the corner and cannot do so. Late flag comes in. That may be in the vicinity of a hold at the 19-yard line as Hankerson takes a 1-yard loss on the play. DeNigel Cooper won the race to the boundary to bring down the Oregon State running back.
Left tackle there, Jacob Strand. He's 6'5", 302. He's big enough to get the seal on that left side. You can see here, but he's holding as well. That's how he was able to seal and get, spring the running back for a nice run there.
That'll back up the Beavers to the 28. Line to gain is the 9. Oregon State trying to put their first points on the board. 3 wide up top. Malik Murphy has completed 5 of his first 9. Play clock is at 0. And a timeout taken before the delay of game. So a timeout taken by Oregon State. 13:30 to play in the second quarter. We're going to take it. No, we're not going to take it with them.
It's interesting. Oregon State's trying to use a lot of motion. And it's funny because they're trying to figure out, one, what defense is Appalachian in. And Appalachian actually started to, they disguised their coverage early in that last play before the timeout. They were showing that they had, 7 guys in the box, but really they're going to, roll to cover 2. But it's interesting. They're doing a lot of motion to try and, I guess, create, misalignments or mismatches. But a lot of this motion is with the tight end. So really, you're going to have a lot of involvement with the middle linebacker or the safety if you got man-to-man coverage in that scenario. But a lot of motion here, just trying to figure out what this ASU's defense is doing early in this ball game to be successful against them.
Ryan Gunderson saying earlier this week that with health comes versatility, and he thought that his offense would be able to look a little bit more versatile as time marched on through this mid-season point for Oregon State, this being their 6th game of the year. App State's played 1 less. First down and 20 after the penalty. Murphy, another great play-action sell, and the pass downfield is complete. Nearly got all that yardage back. David Wells Jr. on the grab. Ferris forced him out of bounds. They'll call him out.
Again, they're rolling Malik out a little to buy him a little more time, and it's interesting. I think Appalachian, not on that particular play, Appalachian's done a good job of covering the receivers because Malik Murphy is not really going to look to run the football. I think he has minus 10 yards on the season. So again, they can really focus on the receivers when they're in that man-to-man coverage.
There's Hankerson across the 10-yard line. He's still going to be about 1.5 yards, almost 2 yards short of the first down. So a 3rd down and short situation coming up for Oregon State. The Beavers 31 of 74 on the year on 3rd downs coming into play today. They are 0 for But check that, 1 for 3 on third down conversions on the afternoon. This you almost feel like is a turning point play in the ball game here. Oregon State's had a nice drive, 10 plays, 65 yards. Can they keep it alive or find their way inside the end zone? This could be a big stop for the App State defense. And that's stopped behind the line of scrimmage. The Mountaineers hold inside the red zone. Ferris on the stop. Walker couldn't get past the 10.
You would think that Oregon State has a lot of talent on that side of the football. Take a look here. Again, really man-to-man coverage, but the Appalachian defensive guys, from the linebackers to the safeties to the corners, they're being able to play very, very tight coverage, because I don't think they're really concerned about Malik Murphy running the football, and that really helps them focus on that receiver doing this type of coverage.
28-yard attempt for Caleb Ojeda, his long of 53 against Cal in the opener. He struggled last week. They had 2 kicks blocked last week, and Ojeda missed it right.
Wow.
Special teams woes continue to hurt Oregon State. That'll send us to a break here at the Rock. Mountaineers get a hold inside the red zone and keep their 17-0 lead over the Beavers. David Jackson, Avery Hall back with you at Kid Brewer Stadium at Boone. J.J. Cole, his first start is going awfully well here as he gets ready to bring the troops back on for another first half possession here. 7 of his first 9, 113 yards. Avery's making good decisions. Offensive line is playing well and protecting him. We said at the top of the show, it's going to come down to a play in the trenches. And right now, App State's built this 17-point lead on winning the trench warfare.
They're protecting him. I mean, they came into this ball game giving up 12 sacks. Only gave up 15 all of last year, but they protected him well. You know, and you know, with that protection comes him, you know, kind of, making sure that everybody knows exactly what the strategy is, what the play call is, and they're doing a good job of protecting him, and they're also providing, pretty good passing lanes. Now, when he's 6'7", it's easier to provide those passing lanes. But he's also just making throws that are unbelievable. Throws that only his receiver can catch the football. He's not trying to overdo it or make this bigger than what it is. He's nice touch on all of his throws. It's been a fantastic football game.
Cole with some pressure coming to him. Short-armed that throw to the releasing tight end, Isaiah Cummings. Oregon State sniffed out the play action pretty well there. Shamar Mikal in on the stop. That was the first time that Cole has turned around and saw 2 guys barreling down at him and had to make a quick decision.
And eventually Oregon State's going to have to dial up the pressure and send, a few more linebackers or whatnot, because they're trying to, well, it looks like they're going to rush 5 now, but they have been rushing 4, not putting adequate pressure on J.J. Cole, and he's just been picking them apart.
Beavers had 6 sacks accumulated over the last 3 weeks. Cole eluding pressure, now taken off across the 25 up to the 27. Can't get the first down there on 3rd and long. It does make up some real estate.
That was a smart decision by J.J. Cole. If you take a look here, he clearly sees there's pressure coming. There's nobody that he can throw to, so instead of wasting time to just hope and pray that somebody comes open, he runs the football and gets what he can. I know it's 4 and 3, but again, he, hopefully with this punt will put them deeper than we would have had he taken a sack or not gotten any yardage.
First 3 and out for the Beaver defense as Ian Ratliff set to boot one away at a 54-yarder at Boise last week. And we'll flip the field position to the 34-yard line where Trent Walker catches, and we'll set Oregon State up for their next possession. Timeout on the field here in Boone. 17-0. Mountaineers lead the Beavers at the Rock. Lots to cheer about here in Boone if you are a fan of Appalachian State. 17-0 start for the Mountaineers. It's got the folks fired up here on a perfect fall football Saturday in the mountains of western North Carolina. This Oregon State club traveled farther than any previous opponent of App State's to get here. They actually came out Thursday evening, spent some time in the Boone area yesterday, traditional walkthrough, and of course they'll head back to take on another North Carolina team next week in Wake Forest back in Corvallis. But for now, Oregon State trying to make their trip a little bit more pleasurable. They got a 3 and out from a defensive standpoint on App State. First time they've stopped the Mountaineers on just 3 plays today. Now let's see what Malik Murphy and company can do as Oregon State looks for their first points. They missed a field goal on their last possession. Here's Murphy, zings one across the middle. Walker wide open inside Mountaineer territory and carried all the way down to the 31-yard line. Malik Murphy needed a big play to spark this Beaver offense. He may have just gotten it.
He's not going to quit. He's a competitor. Again, he played at Texas behind Quinn Ewers, then played at Duke. But take a look here again. He's patient, allows the receiver to get through the route. and a great throw that allows his receiver to catch the ball and continue to run. Good protection by Oregon State up front on that particular play.
Jabari Johnson in at quarterback. And the Beavers down the sideline, little reverse action, and get into the end zone for the touchdown. David Wells Jr. on the reverse from Johnson, and Oregon State's got some spark here at the Rock.
I'll tell you what, that was a really, really nice play call. Again, they're running the same formation, running the same, kind of play towards that wide side of the field, but flip it back to Wells. Wells is a heck of an athlete. I mean, he's one of their top receivers. I think he has over 100 catches over the last 2 seasons, but he's a quick guy. He runs the ball well. Again, just a good, well-designed play, but they set up that play nicely by that post route earlier that kind of had the safety kind of anxious to get to that side to stop any threat when Malik Murphy was rolling out.
Ojeda's PAT is good. Great concentration by Wells down the sideline to stay in bounds. Oregon State has found their first points here at the Rock. 10-point game at Boone.
On the field.
David Wells Jr. puts the Beavers on the board here in Boone. 3rd year in the program. Great to see a guy like that hitting entrenched as he is. He and Oregon State offensive coordinator Ryan Gunderson fooled the entire stadium, us included. Little reverse action. Wells takes it to the house down the sideline. Excellent play design. And Avery, you were talking about that being set up by previous action. I know coaches love to see that long game rewarded.
Yeah, it was, again, excellent play call because he set it up with the previous play where he hit the receiver going with the corner route, but the same motion and same formation and action in the play, but this time he did the reversal, pitched it back to Wells. And Wells has been very, very active in this Oregon State offense. I mean, he's been very, very productive. Like I said, he's been around 3 years. He's 6'1", 183. He catches the ball well, but he runs the ball well, and he's really, really fast. But that was just a great play call by Gunderson and great execution by his offensive staff there, offensive players there.
Wells gets credit for the 30-yard rushing touchdown there on the toss. He's had 2 or more catches in every game thus far this year. Hasn't caught a pass yet, but he's got the most important action offensively for Oregon State here this afternoon. And more importantly, you go 3 and out on defense, you score on offense, you bring yourself back into a ball game. One that App State looked like they were running away with there briefly. 17-7, 10-point affair. Both of these teams have had their ups and downs this year. This is going to be a mental battle as much as physical for the remainder of this contest.
You nailed it. When you have a team that's 0-5, and think about this, folks. This Oregon State football team, they're not a bad football team. They've lost. The folks that they've lost to, their combined record is 21-2. So they've not lost the Sisters of the Poor. I mean, they've lost to Oregon, Texas Tech, Cal, Fresno, teams that are doing very, very well this season. But they've had a lot of bad things happen at inopportune times. But you talk about inopportune times. It's going to be key to see how Appalachian responds here on this drive.
And you speak about inopportune. How about a delay of game coming out of the sideline essentially, and then the next play, a deep pass down the middle, well overthrown. The intended target there for App State Jaden Barnes. So Dowell Loggins, again, who calls the plays for App State, I'm sure not liking the setup to this drive thus far.
I would be careful throwing back to the visitor sideline if I were Appalachian due to the sun in the guy's eyes. I know that sounds crazy to probably someone listening to me, but there's a reason why, you know, probably Oregon State was attacking the home side because of the shade. But anytime you throw back to that side, that sun's in that player's eyes. Here's
Cole going deep again. He's got Stroman, who twists away from a target, has the first down catch across midfield. That's a veteran making a play right there. Dalton Stroman, a first down grab for App State.
You know what? That's an impressive play because, one, it was a throw. Again, J.J. Cole is doing a great job of throwing. Take a look here. He catches the ball. He's looking the whole way. He knows exactly where he wants to go. He positions his football, and he expects Stroman to adjust and come back to the ball. And Stroman did that. You know, in previous of the last two games, we have not always had receivers do that. But when he threw that ball, he expected Stroman to adjust and come back to it. So great execution by both players.
Stroman able to shake off Skylar Thomas to haul in that first down catch into Beaver territory. Toss back from Dubinion, little flea flicker action. Mountaineers have something here, and Stroman drops it at the 10. Tough break there. That was perfectly designed, and Stroman had it off his fingertips.
Well called play. Listen, how do you respond to Oregon State scoring? We're going to come out and we're going to be aggressive. Okay, Appalachian's up 17-7. That was an aggressive play call. Stroman has to reel that in. That's not even a 50-50 ball. That ball is right there, well thrown in his hands. He's got to catch that football.
2nd and 10 for the Mountaineers from the 46, and now a whistle and the play is blown dead. Flag on the field. Mountaineers went penalty-less there for a while. Not so much anymore.
You know, you wonder when Appalachian got out to a 17-0 lead, you wonder, okay, how do you stay focused and how do you finish strong? Not just the second quarter, but the duration of the football
number 76,
game.
5-yard penalty.
Over the last
2nd down.
3 ball games, if you think about what has transpired over the last 3 ball games, let's go back really 4 ball games.
Correction, 73.
You think about the interceptions, the fumbles, the drop passes. That has really hurt this ASU football team. And when Stroman dropped it, I hate to have so much passion around it, but you cannot drop those footballs because it will cost you long term if you're consistently dropping footballs.
2nd and 15 after the penalty. App State came in the 5th most penalized team in the country into this ball game. Pass off the fingertips of Sanchez on the sideline. Good blanketed coverage there by Jalil Tucker. That'll bring up 3rd down and 15.
Jalil Tucker, good job. You know, Oregon State's defensive line put a little more pressure on J.J. Cole. He actually threw that ball really before he wanted to, but it was still not a poorly thrown ball. But you know, he couldn't come back to it in good coverage by Oregon's defensive back there.
No sacks yet. A couple tackles for loss for the Beavers. App State has allowed 12 sacks this year. A little pressure on Cole as he rolls out, fires off the back foot, and that ball is off the fingertips of Jaden Barnes, incomplete. Got blanketed from behind by Jaheim Patterson, who hit him as the ball hit his hands. Check it again.
J.J. Cole rolling out. Good job by Dubinion coming back and taking the pressure, the linebacker blitzing. If you really can't see, number 6 had his paw in between Barnes' arm and his upper torso to kind of knock that ball out of there. But that's a 50-50 ball you really want your receivers to try and come up with.
Ratliff on to punt, his first effort, a 41-yarder. Credit Oregon State. Good defensive stand there after what looked like they gave up a pass play inside the 10. They shake off Stroman's fumble, or bobble rather, and come back and get the stand here. So now Oregon State with momentum has an opportunity to drive here with 7:59 to play in the half.
And think about with that Stroman drop pass, that the impacts of that is even if you don't score a touchdown, you get a field goal opportunity. You go up 27 versus 17-7. So how does Oregon State respond? Do they come back and have a lengthy drive in the next 7 minutes and score? if ASU defense can go 3 and out, or at least keep them off the board from a scoring perspective, it's a win. But you really have to go back to the momentum of that drop pass that, you know, Appalachian lost an opportunity there to put some more points on the board.
So App State goes 47-yard catch, drop pass penalty, and now has Oregon State after the Ratliff punt inside their own 10-yard line, where Hankerson and crew will go to work. This would be the perfect time for one of those Ryan Gunderson long, methodical drives to end the half and get Oregon State a little closer in this 10-point ball game. He said we can score on 2 plays or 14 plays. This one feels like one of those times. If you can string a few first downs together, you can start to play the clock management game a little bit, as Malik Murphy will check into a new play at the line of scrimmage.
You see him clap. He's trying to get the defense to show what they're going to do, whether they're going to, you know, be in man coverage or zone coverage, 3 deep, 2 deep. But Appalachian's defense didn't move, so he's going to kind of go with the play that was called, or maybe modify it, which he did. He took advantage of that underneath zone spot there on the field side of the defense. So good pitch and catch by Malik and the receiver there.
Walker's 6th catch of the day gives him 87 yards and moves the chains for Oregon State. Great grab by Wofford. Has in on the stop for the Mountaineers. 1st and 10, Oregon State from the 25.
Trent Walker's been awfully productive. I mean, he has over, I guess, 30 receptions for 405 yards already this season. So he's been very productive, as well as David Wells with this Oregon State offense.
Wells diving for that football, or rather that was Walker actually. Trent Walker diving for the ball in front of Kyle Arnholt. Couldn't come down with it. That was like a center fielder trying to slide in underneath a dying quail. Just couldn't come up with it.
And you really
Second down.
You don't want Trent Walker to get going. I mean, he had 103 yards receiving against Houston, 134 yards against Cal. So if he gets hot, he can be another threat along with David Wells, as well as Hankerson, who's coming out of the backfield right now.
Cornell Hatcher in there at the running back spot on this 2nd down and 10 play. Hasn't been on the field a ton today, despite his performance last week. Hatcher picking up a blitz as that ball is fired off. Complete 1st down gain up the sideline. Eddie Freeoff on the reception, and Oregon State just in the shadow of midfield. Eddie Freeoff, a really interesting story. He was born in Uganda, an orphaned youngster, was brought over to the United States in 5th grade. He played football for the first time then, didn't really like it that much, played again in high school, found that he was going to be pretty good at it. He actually tore his labrum right after he committed to Oregon State. 2nd game of his senior year of high school. Oregon State honored the commitment, and that doesn't happen all the time in college football. So Freeoff, a long way from Uganda to Corvallis, but he's got quite a bit of loyalty to a program that stayed loyal to him. Here's some pressure on Murphy as he slings one up for grabs, and that ball is caught by Oregon State. Are you kidding me? What a grab! And there's Freeoff right on cue with the grab for a 1st down gain.
Freeoff is repaying Oregon State for that commitment. Take a look here. Great pressure by Appalachian's defensive line. Ball is tipped. This is just a lucky play. It looked like Appalachian's defender is going to go up at the highest level and grab it, but Freeoff just keeps battling, just keeps fighting. And that's what good football players do.
That is a catch for a 1st down. Emory Floyd in there in coverage. So the Beavers across midfield and then some on that play to Eddie Freeoff. From the 34, 1st down and 10, Oregon State. 5 minutes and change left here in the 2nd quarter. Little delay look, and then the burst from Hankerson. He gets the corner, fighting him out of bounds inside the 10-yard line, and now there's a flag on the play as well. Emory Floyd on the stop. Hankerson got kind of high load there on the sideline, and he is in some pain.
Yeah, you can't grab that nameplate, and I think that's what the Appalachian defender did. So they're going to call horse collar probably here, due to inside back of the jersey nameplate area.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense number 6. Half the distance
you just can't grab that nameplate area or the inside collar. And if you could look here, when he's running, I mean, he's trying to just tackle the guy, but he has that nameplate area. And whenever there's an abrupt pull down, that's when they're going to call.
Yeah, and it looked like he got his ankle rolled over on as he came down there. I think that was Floyd that actually came down on top of him. And that is the issue right now for Hankerson. Boy, and he's had a solid game today already, 10 carries in the contest. But we stop here for the injury and hopefully get Hankerson back on his feet and back in this game as soon as possible.
Yeah, they're trying to take that play out of the game, obviously, because that same type of injury, when you have that abrupt change of direction, you can always hurt some of the soft tissue of the knees or the ankles. But
tell you what, he's hobbled, but he's given some encouragement to his teammates by jogging back across the field. So expect to see Cornell Hatcher a bit more now, as Oregon State now tries to not only get their injured player tended to, but figure out how to dial up a red zone scoring opportunity. They've got some issues scoring inside the red zone. 0 for 1 today. They were 75% in red zone scoring opportunities coming into this contest. That was 107th in the FBS this year. 0 for 1 today. Trying to capitalize and make this a one-score game again. Hatcher up the gut to the 3-yard line. DeNigel Cooper amongst the group of Mountaineers, keeping Hatcher out of the end zone. Cornell Hatcher mentioned 17 carries, 93 yards, including an 18-yard touchdown last week against Houston. Comes in averaging a little over 5 carries a game. A pulverizing runner that stays behind his pads and keeps a good low center of gravity. Lots of positive comments from Gunderson about his performance.
He's only 214, but he runs much bigger than 214 pounds.
Tying it in motion is Melbourne. It's going to be a pass that way, and that's a touchdown. Wells on the score. And the Beavers coming back here at the Rock with 13 unanswered on App State.
Wow, that was just a well-executed play. Again, Malik Murphy, outstanding job of being patient here. Good job with his play-action fake there. Nice pitch and catch. Good job by Wells. They're just kind of being patient and running the route and getting underneath that defender there, making a great catch as well.
Ian Ratliff started this drive with a punt that sent Oregon State back to the 7. They go 8 plays, 93 yards, and the PAT by Ojeda makes this a field goal game with 4:10 to go. So it was 17 straight for App State, now 14 straight for the Beavers. We talked about a key in this, Avery Hall, that first 3 and out offensively that Oregon State was able to get from a defensive standpoint, kind of flip the momentum of this ball game. And then since you've seen much better defensive play, much better play up front, and that was one of the indicators to how this game was going to be decided in the first place.
And it's going to be really key to see how both teams finish. Again, Appalachian will need to finish this football game strong in order to be in a position to win. Oregon State, on the flip side, they've started strong but fallen behind in the second half. It'll be important and critical for both of these football teams to come out with a sense of urgency in the second half. I know we still got 4 minutes left, and you know, you hope this Appalachian State offense can respond to that touchdown in a positive manner, but it'll be key to see how both of these teams finish in the second half based on how they played thus far in the season for both teams.
Midpoint of the year, this is a mental thing at this point in time. These two teams have been, again, through some parts of their season that they would like to have back. Both of them feel like they've done some good things and some things they'd like to have back in this ball game as well. To the 24-yard line, Kamani Alexander on the kickoff return, and App State, with all 3 of its timeouts and 4:02 to go, has a chance to not only finish off this drive, but then they have the opening possession of the second half as well. So you can play that game a little bit if you're Dowell Loggins. What have you liked so far about App State from an attack standpoint? What do you think works well on this drive?
I tell you what, you can't. It's a fine line between being conservative. Now, and what I mean by that is, right now, Oregon State has some momentum offensively, so you don't want them to have the ball back at any point in this, if you can avoid it in this last 4 minutes. So do you run the ball? Do you pound it, or are you still creative to try and create opportunities to score? There's a fine line between, you know, game management relative to keeping your offensive unit engaged and trying to go down and score, or do you really just try and make sure you look to score, but more importantly, take time off this clock and keep the ball out of the hands of a hot Oregon State offense right now?
Trig Lewis on that initial carry gained 3 yards. Now the play fake to Lewis. Cole with a nice roll, pitch, catch to the tight end. First down grab for David Larkins. Dexter Foster takes him down at the 36. Larkins' 6th grab of the year. And that's good for a Mountaineer first down.
Good poise by Cole. Again, he knows where he's going. Rolls out, buys a little more time to allow the tight end to get into the route. Good throw, good catch, good protection up front.
Larkin's 39th career game. 5th-year player, one of the most experienced veterans on the team. 1st and 10, black and gold at their own 36. Handoff to Lewis, gets into the secondary. That's one of those chunk plays on the ground that App State hasn't had for a few possessions now, that carries the Mountaineers across the midfield marker. Jaleel Tucker on the touchdown saving tackle.
All the fans are going to see the running back running for multiple, 10 yards there. But what they didn't see is Caden Sweat, the left guard, 6'4", 295, pull and crush a linebacker or a defensive lineman almost simultaneously to create a seam or running lane for the running back.
Cummings in motion near side, makes the catch and then gets immediately stopped. 2-yard pickup on positive progress. Jaleel Tucker on the tackle and pushback of Isaiah Cummings. Cummings trying to get a little bit theatrical there, and this Pac-12 crew not buying that.
Again, good recognition by
Tucker playing to the whistle.
Tucker, well, he good recognition on his part. He comes up immediately, makes a great tackle in space and open field, and it's authoritative tackle. There's no making that one first guy miss there. Good authoritative tackle in open field.
Positive gain of 2. And now a whistle and a stoppage. We have reached the 2-minute timeout. So the Mountaineers with all 3 of their timeouts. Clock dwindling down here in the second quarter. We'll see if the Apps can find the scoreboard here at Kid Brewer Stadium. 3-point affair. Oregon State has come to Boone to play. They trail the Mountaineers by 3. It's that kind of day at Kid Brewer Stadium. Everybody happy, and they've got a good football game here too. 3-point affair as we reach the 2-minute timeout. App State driving inside Oregon State territory. And here goes Trig Lewis once again into the secondary for the second time on the drive. Inside the 35-yard line, and Jakari Lewis moves the sticks for another first down.
Good RPO, read pass option read by J.J. Cole. He clearly, they show 6 down linemen, but 2 linebackers backed out, left the front 4 of 4. He had 5 linemen on 4. Good job of going to the run play and attacking the weak side of that defense.
1st and 10 Mountaineers. Handoff Lewis. Right side, gets the corner, tries the spin move, gets away from a tackler. And inside the 30, that looked like a pickup of 3 turned into a pickup of 6, thanks to the extra effort from Jakari Trigg Lewis, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale.
I tell you, Trigg Lewis, he has good balance. He has good vision. I mean, he's been hit and really gotten yardage after initial contact. Really good change of pace between he and DeBinion. Again, if DeBinion has run through you, can run around you, but Trigg can make you miss and has power.
And here's DeBinion coming off that same right side and spins off a tackler for a first down gain. Dowell Loggins said earlier this year, in about week 3, he said, we've got to start managing DeBinion's load. We talked earlier that he's been carrying or touching the football about 27 times a game. Timeout on the field will keep things here. But DeBinion's had about 27 touches a game when you combine what he rushes and what he also catches out of the backfield. So Loggins said, hey, we've got to find another running back to step into that role and be able to carry it 6, 7, 8 times a game. And that, starting last week, was Trigg Lewis. Had 7 carries for 23 yards against Boise and has really kind of put himself into that, what you said, Avery, a great change of pace kind of thing.
And it's kind of good, too, that Coach Loggins is thinking about that. But at the same time, you don't want to take away from DeBinion's value of being just that guy who can tote the rock 22 times, who can touch an additional 5 times receiving. But it is a blessing that you can find a Trigg Lewis, you know, who's 5'10", 205, freshman who has the, you know, ability to run in between the tackles, but can also get, you know, do very, very well and be very, very productive in the zone, outside zone play and get into the perimeter. But he's just lucky he's got 2 good backs that he can kind of, you know, do a good job of managing their workload there.
Trent Ramsey came off the field due to injury. That was the stoppage. So the Mountaineers with first down and 10. Cole ripped to the ground as he throws that football forward. They'll call that an incomplete pass. And the first big pressure that we've seen from Oregon State today. Kai Wallen won the race to the quarterback and nearly sacked Cole. Cole nearly turned it over at the same time.
Yeah, he did a smart job
of
throwing motion, and he did have a receiver or a tight end in that area, but it looks like it's going to be personal foul on Oregon State here.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Number 86 was in the area.
Could you understand what he was saying?
Yeah, no foul for intentional grounding.
Yeah, okay.
As Kanan Hamlet was in the area, so no flag.
That's why I said he did a great job. He clearly had enough poise to see that there was a Mountaineer in that vicinity.
DeBinion the back as App State splits the shadows here at Kid Brewer Stadium on this afternoon in the high country. Pass incomplete. Kanan Hamlet the target there, as Dexter Foster was in the vicinity of coverage, and now App State, after methodically moving it, has stalled out a little bit just on the doorstep of the red zone. 3rd down and 10 coming up from the 23. 43 seconds of clock time. App State's got all 3 timeouts. So from a play calling perspective, and now Dowell Loggins will use one, you've got some advantages here.
So
given the circumstances, your thoughts? What's Dowell Loggins telling his team right now?
You know, I think he's aggressive enough that he wants a touchdown. However, I think from a cerebral perspective, he knows that it's important not to turn the football over here in the red zone, but also try and at least get a field goal. But if I were a betting man, I would bet that he's going to be aggressive with this 3rd down, and I think it's 3rd down and 10, DJ. I think he's going to be aggressive to try and at least get the first down, to try and keep this drive going with 2 timeouts left, keep this drive going so that he can hopefully manufacture a touchdown. But he's also going to try and make sure he doesn't do anything to turn the football over to take away a field goal opportunity.
App State, 3 penalties against them today for just 15 yards. They haven't turned it over yet. Knock on wood. 5 wide for Cole on 3rd down and 10. 43 seconds left in the half. DeBinion came over to motion. He stands above him on your screen. Here's Cole. Pass across his body, and that ball deflected and incomplete. App State wants the flag. Davion Dozier was the target. He can't believe it.
Take a look here, DJ.
Silasa Vindawala was the coverage there.
He was definitely had his arms wrapped around him prior to the ball getting there. But I do think that the ref was behind him and couldn't see that. And maybe the judge couldn't see it as well. But it's pretty clear he got there early. And, you know, they're showing it on the Jumbotron here at the Rock. Unfortunately, you can't use the in-stadium monitor for replay. Has to be with your broadcast partner. So hopefully somebody's got a shot if they review that, but they won't review that, I don't think. But that was just a missed call by the referee crew here across the board.
36.
Take a look at this, DJ. His arms are literally wrapped around him prior to the ball getting there. Yeah, his arms around him. You see. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
So you're saying that's unfavorable?
That's not a favorable call.
Unfavorable position. So what that will yield now with 36 seconds left, Oregon State called a timeout, which brought the Boo Birds out again. Gave them a little extra time there. Trying to ice Dominic DeFreitas. Remember, they can't do this multiple times now, so DeFreitas will attempt a 41-yard field goal. He made from 49 earlier. This would give App State a 6-point advantage. Heading closer to halftime. Good snap. Hold is down. Kick has plenty of leg, and it is no good. Missed it left. DeFreitas kicked a line drive, and it just kind of sliced along and comes up short. So Oregon State, after giving up 54 yards on 10 plays, sees that one go just wide left. And gets the stand here with 30 seconds to play until halftime.
And I will tell you, they're going to count that as a win. You know, the defensive coordinator, which is the head coach Trent Bray, and the co-defensive coordinator Rod Chancellor will say, "Great job, guys. You kept points off the board. It's still a one-possession, football game." I don't see Oregon State being aggressive here, but who knows? I don't think they'll be aggressive over the next 30 seconds, but we'll see here.
Malik Murphy will drop back. He has plenty of time to sling it. And he's going to find the boundary. But that catch made out of bounds. Taz Reddix caught the ball, but was on the boundary when he did so.
So that play tells you exactly what Oregon State strategically is going to do in the second half. They're going to come out and they're going to play. They're going to play to win. They're going to be aggressive. Because, again, with 23 seconds left deep in your opponent's territory, if you throw the ball, two things can happen out of three. One, the receiver can catch it, but one, you can have an incomplete pass that stops the clock, obviously. But you can also throw an interception and have it returned for pick 6 in this area.
5 wide. Murphy back again. Little safety valve release to Wells. He stays on his feet up to about the 29-yard line. That'll keep the clock rolling, and that'll likely be the last play of this first half. So credit Oregon State for bouncing back. App State gave them all they wanted through the first quarter of play. 17 straight points. The Beavers come back with 14 of their own here in the second quarter. Both teams have missed field goals. Both defenses have gotten some charge out of that. And we've got what's setting up to be a whale of a football game to finish off here in Boone, North Carolina on this college football Saturday. 30 minutes down, 3-point game here at the Rock. App State leading Oregon State by 3 here at Kid Brewer Stadium. Halftime festivities begin right after this. Three-point game here at Kidd Brewer Stadium at halftime. 17-14 our score. We'll get to plenty more of that action here in just a little bit. But right now we are joined by App State's head soccer coach, Amy Haywood, who is getting ready to head down the final charge of the last month of the regular season. How is this campaign already coming down the home stretch?
It's unbelievable. I can't believe we're already in October and only a couple weeks left in the season. A really important couple weeks for our team as we work toward making that 8-team conference tournament.
Big splash earlier in the season, the win over Miami. You've catapulted that into a strong start to Sun Belt play. That obviously gets ready to come to its conclusion. But what are you most excited about right now?
I'm excited about this team. We've had a really strong season. You mentioned the win over Miami. Super exciting for us to host an ACC program and get a win here at home in Boone. A win over South Alabama, maybe I think first time since 2016. That was a really big momentum shift for us. And you know, this Sun Belt Conference is just really good in women's soccer. We got 7 teams in the top 110, which is, you know, out of 350 women's soccer programs, that's a really strong conference. So we have a great team and we're in a great league, and it should be a really exciting and competitive last couple of weeks.
Coach Izzy Wood on a run for county commissioner. She's been here long enough. You're looking at a Hall of Fame career coming down its home stretch right here. What can you say about her as a player and the commitment she's had to your program?
Izzy's an incredible person and player, sitting on that cusp of that all-time scoring record. But the thing you got to know about Izzy is she is passionate and she is industriousness, and like at its core, she works hard, but she does the right things in the right way, and she always gives credit back to her team, which I appreciate so much.
Coach, you got James Madison tomorrow and an opportunity to use the home field to your advantage some. What's something that you'd like these fans to know about your team and their impact on your club heading down the stretch?
Yeah, our team thrives off the energy in Boone. We get such great support out at the Valley at our field. We love to see the fan supports. Pick up a vuvuzela horn on your way out. The energy in Boone is unmatched as far as Sun Belt women's soccer. I mean, we are definitely leading in attendance and way leading in energy, and we love it out there.
I know you made the Valley one of the toughest places to play in college soccer, so it's exciting to see that energy. Coach, best of luck down the stretch, and we hope for big things in the Sun Belt tournament coming up next month.
Me too, thank you.
All right, Amy Haywood joining us here at halftime at Kidd Brewer Stadium. 3-point game here at The Rock. We'll talk more about it right after this.
Thank you.
Halftime continues on here at the Rock Kid Brewer Stadium. 3-point game here. App State leading Oregon State. Coming up, we'll have highlights, we'll have stats, all of the reasons why we are where we are here on this beautiful day in Boone. 3-point game. App State on top of Oregon State by a field goal at the Rock.
There will be joyful days for all of us in this place for a very long time to come. And I am grateful to share this one with all of you.
Well, this is a great highlight to lead things off with. Yesterday, installation ceremonies for the 8th Chancellor at Appalachian State, Dr. Heather Holbert Norris, in front of a great crowd at the Holmes Convocation Center. Her family as well, a part of the festivities. An excellent day for her to be officially recognized as Chancellor. She was appointed to that position and became that over the summer. But Heather Norris, a great champion for Appalachian State University for better than 20 years now, started as an associate professor, all the way up to chancellor. So congratulations to Chancellor Norris. The band spelled her name out on the field. That's when you know, Avery Hall, that you have arrived, when your name is spelled in a marching band show.
Well, and she's arrived because of the person that she is. I mean, obviously, she's a great leader. She has an opportunity to lead a great university, a lot of revenue to manage, and buildings and faculty and staff and students. But I emphasize the students because I've seen her do an outstanding job of advocating for young people. So Appalachian, we're excited about Chancellor Norris and what she can do for this university.
Congratulations, Chancellor. Look forward to having you up in the booth one of these days soon. We're going to take one final time out, come back with some football highlights and stats as we get ready for an excellent second half here in Boone. All right, everybody getting back to their seats here at Kid Brewer Stadium for what should be an exciting second half, a three-point game, 17-14 App State on top of Oregon State. As we take a look at some of the highlights here, Avery Hall, the biggest storyline of the game from App State's perspective, J.J. Cole came in and was dealing in his first start at quarterback.
He really was. He started out very hot. In the first quarter, he was 7 of 9 for 113 yards. Obviously, no turnovers. Got a little cool in the second quarter, going 3 of 11, 43 yards. But that was also the symptoms of receivers dropping passes, but he has gotten off to a hot start and been very valuable in this game.
Davion Dozier, a couple of catches for 94 yards in there. You see Rashad Dubinion untouched as he scores a touchdown. App State scored the first 17 points of this game. You knew Oregon State wasn't going to go anywhere. This reverse really sparked the whole comeback for the Beavers.
David Wells has been great when he's catching the football, and obviously it was real clear he was a great runner once he got the ball here and scampered for over 30 yards for the touchdown. Good blocking out front, good execution, good finish.
Malik Murphy ended up helping Oregon State get in the end zone with the pass play there. He went 13 of 19 for 167 and a touchdown in first half action. It really came down to some missed opportunities in the kicking game. You see App State's missed field goal just before halftime. Oregon State missed a field goal earlier as well. In a three-point game, Avery Hall, these are the mistakes that will haunt coaches on whatever their trip back looks like, whether that's across the country or back to the house. So we'll see how the second half shakes out. But overall, see a pretty balanced first half from all the major metrics.
Pretty balanced first half, and that's kind of how the coaches want it. You know, both of the teams have avoided turnovers. Appalachian does not have a turnover. Oregon State has one fumble, and that was a costly fumble in the first quarter that led to an Appalachian touchdown. But both teams have played clean football. Both teams are trying to rebound from tough losses, and it'll be key to see who responds well in this second half.
Tell you what, if you'd have told Dowell Loggins before the game that you'd only have 3 penalties for 15 yards at halftime, he'd take that and run with the way that his team has been penalized. Again, the second most penalty yards against in the entire country coming into play today. So the Mountaineers have at least cleaned that up, and we have seen a pretty clean and balanced football game that will be decided 30 minutes from now. Opening kickoff of the second half, returnable here for Alexander out of the end zone, trying to get back up to the 25-yard line, and his efforts stymied a bit short there. They'll give him positive progress to the 24, and that's where the Mountaineers will go to work. J.J. Cole again getting the start today in the place of A.J. Swan, who's still dealing with a lower body injury that just needs to see him get healthy. 10 of 20, Cole passing 161 in the air. He's run for another 10 yards, including a touchdown score in a pair of carries. The App State offensive line has held him up pretty well. As a matter of fact, both of these offensive lines have yet to allow a quarterback sack. Cole and company go to work. First and 10 from the 24. Handoff goes to Rashad Dubinion, pushing off one tackler, stiff arms another, and ends up turning what looked like a short gain into about a 4.5-yard burst. Zakai Sayez on the tackle for Oregon State.
Good play call by Appalachian. Again, tight end to the wide side of the field, but they attack the weak side because, again, they outflank the defensive side of the football, the defensive team on that side of the football. So good run, good play call by Appalachian.
Dozier comes in motion. Cole rolling out. Little bit of pressure comes, and here comes that first quarterback sack. Right on cue, Zakai Sayez making his mark here to start third quarter play.
You know, you kind of teed it up for him to get a sack. But, you know, one thing about this Oregon State football team, I think through the first 3 ball games, they didn't have any sacks. And then all of a sudden in the last 2 games, I think they've had 6 sacks. So they've kind of, you know, dialed up a little more pressure and tried to be aggressive on in that front 7. 13th
sack allowed by App State this year. They had 15 all of last year. A deep loss makes it 3rd and 19. Here goes Dubinion trying to get it back, and then some. Nearly has the first down. He's probably going to be about a yard short. Let's see what the spot looks like. They'll mark him at the 28-yard line, so indeed 1 yard shy of what would have been a first down movement of the change. Jaheim Patterson is the one that stopped him.
That is a poor spot. And again, that's not me being
4th and 1 looks
just
like
an Appalachian guy.
Go for it here.
Yeah, that was a poor spot. Again, it looked clearly like he landed on the 29, which is the line to gain, but they put it on the 28.
4th and 1. Let's see if the Mountaineers will let him bark it out. No, they're going to go for it. 4th and 1. Dubinion is stood up. Did he get the first down?
He got the first down.
Stood up at the 35, the line to gain the 34, and Dubinion gets the carry for the first down game. Boy, Dowell Loggins saying, hey, we're 2-2. We got to win this game. Let's go for it. 4th and 1 in plus territory.
I like the call. Now, you're going to have some naysayers, some critics out there, but I like the call because it says to the football team, we're here to win, and I'm gonna do everything in my power as your coach to put you in a position to win. I like the call.
Also says to your offensive line, the way you played in the first half, we've got confidence that you can gain a yard. Trig Lewis trying to gain a yard is actually stopped for 2. That's the 3rd tackle for loss already in the quarter for Oregon State. We've only been playing for about 3 minutes. Well, Nico Taylor on the stop.
And you can best believe that Appalachian sees the aggressiveness of the front 4, the first level of the defense, and the second level of the defense. So remember, that tackle for loss is going to lead to Appalachian being able to go over top with the same RPO action later in this football game.
Lewis the setback. Shift up front.
There you go.
With the play action. Going over the top. And short arms the pass. It's incomplete. Skipped on the turf right in front of Dalton Stroman, who was about a half yard too far upfield for him. We'll bring up 3rd down and 11.
J.J. Cole has not made too many errant throws, but as you can look here and take a look here, he throws that one a little short. And maybe he was saying back at you, Stroman, for dropping his perfect ball early. No, I am just kidding. But no, he hadn't had too many errant throws, but that was one of them.
App State on 3rd down today, 2 of 7. Cole with time in the pocket. Looking downfield and has that ball caught for a 1st down completion across the midfield line by Davion Dozier. His 3rd catch of the day.
I tell you, Davion Dozier has been a nice addition to this wide receiving core by Appalachian. When I say nice addition, he hadn't played a lot, but playing today, and he's been very, very, very productive with over 94 yards already receiving, and I'm sure that takes him over 100, but he's had a fantastic day today.
Played 4 games at Arkansas over a 2-year career before transferring through the portal and finding his way to App State. A little banged up to start the year, but has been practicing a lot more these last couple of weeks and necessitating some good minutes here today as Trig Lewis gets stopped behind the line of scrimmage again. Boy, right now, Oregon State's selling out against the run. Dexter Foster in on the tackle. App State rushed the football for right around 80 yards in the first half. Going to be tougher sledding this time around.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun football game to watch over the next 25 minutes, because both teams are, got a lot to play for. Both teams are hungry. Both teams are looking for a win. It's going to be fun to watch.
2nd down and 11. Cole across the middle. That ball batted away. Skylar Thomas got his hand just in front of the body of Trig Lewis, who was trying to catch that one out of the backfield. 3rd down and 11.
Skylar Thomas has been active for Oregon State. I mean, he came into this football game with over 40 tackles, and you called his name multiple times already today. He does a good job of coming up and helping in run support, but also does a good job in covering backside of the backfield. And that's what's special about safeties like that, being able to cover in space, being able to be physical when they need to be. You go from covering a wide receiver to a running back, and they have that type of versatility.
10th play of the drive here as Cole is trying to extend it, and now there's a flag on the play off the incomplete pass.
Now, Coach Trent Bray's going to argue that ball was not catchable, but it was not catchable because the defender held the receiver and he couldn't make an adjustment and come back to the play. If we see the replay here, Trent Bray is sitting there saying it's not catchable. Take a look here. He throws the football. He's holding it right there already, and then he keeps him from going back trying to make an adjustment. So great call.
Jalil Tucker in on the coverage there, so the penalty will give App State 1st down and 10 from the Oregon State 39. Again, a 3-point Mountaineer lead. Trying to build off that. Here's DeBinion. Straight up the gut to the 35 before positive progress is stopped. Rashad DeBinion's 10th carry of the day into the arms of Shamar Mikal, the freshman out of Miramar, Florida. This Oregon State team, as you would imagine, power conference-esque style team. I guess you could say they're almost back to that again. The Pac-12 will certainly expand out and take Texas State out of the Sun Belt with them, as a matter of fact. But you see a national recruiting footprint for Trent Bray's club. As DeBinion shakes loose. Nice sidestep there at about the 32-yard line. That gets him across the 30. And another 1st down gain to the Beaver 27.
I tell you, take a look here. Look at the backside guard pulling and creating a running lane there. I mean, fans will see DeBinion running for all these yards, but you can't help but get excited about the big guys who are making it happen across the board. Shamar Jackson at right tackle, Trent Ramsey, right guard. Those guys are getting after folks right now.
Lewis on the keeper, or rather on the carry. Dexter Foster trips him up, ankle tackle, gets him back to the original line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Dexter Foster looks like he's hurt.
Foster maybe cramping or maybe got his ankle stepped on. We're going to take a timeout with them. Monster drive to start things out. Mountaineers still lead it by 3, but they're driving here at the Rock.
Timeout on the field.
You know, if this is the kind of activity that you need to do, like stretch up and down, dance around the house during halftime to get your juices flowing in the 3rd quarter, well, the play on the field ought to have you just about where you need to be. Everybody hyped up here at the Rock for what will be the 13th play of the opening drive of the 2nd half. We are under the 9-minute mark here in the 3rd quarter. App State maintaining a 3-point lead. This has been a penalty-aided drive. Costly holding penalty against Oregon State on a 3rd down incompletion kept the drive alive, and App State knocking on the door of the red zone on their opening 2nd half possession. Here's J.J. Cole, back to pass. He's got a man streaking toward the front of the end zone. That ball is caught for a touchdown, black and gold. Davian Dozier in the end zone of the Mountaineers sprints the lead.
That drive was so important, because it was important for Appalachian to take this momentum back from this Oregon State Beavers football team that had all of the momentum in the 2nd quarter. Take a look here. First of all, fantastic protection up front by the Big Uglies as they provided enough time for this route to develop. Great throw. Again, he puts the ball in a position where only his defender has a chance at it. Great protection, great route, great throw, excellent execution.
4 catches for 140 on the day for Davian Dozier. PAT is up and good, and the Mountaineers build that lead back out to 10. They've led by as many as 17. What will Oregon State answer with? We'll find out when we come back. 10-point lead for the Apps in Boone.
Timeout on the field.
Hey, you got to wag that flag around in the air if you're App State fans. You got the drive that you wanted to start that second half. 13th play, 76 yards, 6:13 off the third quarter clock. And a touchdown grab for Davian Dozier that gives him 4 catches now on the day for 140 yards and that score. An impressive kind of debut here at the Rock for Dozier in that regard. He did not play against Lindenwood. He has made a statement on one of the top days for the program, certainly in the Dowell Loggins era. Of course, there have only been 2 here at home, so I guess you factor that in, but still, what a way to arrive on the scene.
I'd say he's done a fantastic job today, and he's a big guy, 6'4", what 205. I mean, he's having a phenomenal day. Hope he continues. Hope Appalachian's defense can continue to put pressure on this Oregon State offense, but they've got a good running back in Hankerson.
And Hankerson back on the field, which is encouraging. He left on the previous drive after an ankle injury there before halftime. Hankerson moved his way up to 25th all-time at Oregon State in career rushing a little earlier in the game. He's got 30 yards for 24. We'll see if he can get it as he comes back to work. A play action fake there to Hankerson. The pass complete to Trent Walker. First down gain on the first pass play for Malik Murphy. Elijah McCantos in on the stop. Trent Walker has been the active target. That's his 7th catch on the day. He has caught all but one of his targets, averaging about 14.5 yards per catch, and going down to get many of them just like he did there. So here's Murphy. On first down and 10, 179 yards passing for the Oregon State QB. He hits Hankerson in the flat, who gets outside the numbers up to the 41-yard line. Pickup of 6 on first down.
Pretty good job of running sideline to sideline by the safety there, getting up and making a great open field tackle. Take a look here. Again, real clear horizontal passing game. Gets it out there, try and get Hankerson out there to make, create some play in space. Good open field tackle there.
Second down and 6. Clap of the hands there by Oregon State. And here comes Trent Walker again on a Malik Murphy pass into App State territory. And the Beavers move the chains once again to the 42-yard line. First down, Oregon State.
Malik Williams, good throw. He knows where he wants to go. Again, that's one of those routes where he's not really going. His read progression is what it is, but he knows where he wants to go with the football. Good throw on his part.
DJ Burks in on that stop. First down and 10, Oregon State into Mountaineer territory from the 42-yard line. Handoff goes to Hatcher with some space to the 32. That's a pickup of just at 10 yards. He should move the chains and will for another Oregon State first down.
Good job of kind of just going with a little throw earlier. Now power run. Offensive line does a good job of knocking. You really want to say creating lanes, but really knocking Appalachian off the ball, creating a running seam for Hatcher there.
Murphy going to check into a new play. Ryan Gunderson said he's got the tools to lead the offense. He's done it with a good job of balancing the pass and the run here on this drive. In 10-point game, Oregon State trying to get it back to a 1-score affair. That ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, but went to Walker anyway. Makes the catch for a first down gain inside the 30-yard line. Methodical drive continues for the Beavers. Elijah McCantos on the stop.
Elijah coming up, from that safety position, making a good immediate stop. Because again, it looks like the receiver had a little more real estate here, but again, like good throw. Looks like had a little, but good job of just coming up making an immediate tackle there.
David Wells up at the top of your screen. 2 receivers lower side. Second down and 5 for Oregon State. Cornell Hatcher in the backfield. He's had 4 carries today to follow up his impressive performance last week. Second down, 5. Fake to Hatcher, pass across the middle. That's in tight space and complete inside the 15. First down gain for the Beavers. Ethan Johnson on the stop of David Wells, who caught that ball in a really thin window for a first down grab.
Pretty good accuracy there by Malik Murphy. Again, that's not bad coverage, but he puts the ball only where Wells can catch it, and Wells does a good job of taking that 50-50 ball away from Johnson.
Hatcher in the backfield, first down and 10. Line to gain is the 5. Here's Murphy with a little bounce. Finds Hatcher out of the backfield, makes one miss and gets into the end zone for the touchdown. What a strong run by Cornell Hatcher. And the Beavers, a PAT away from a field goal game again here at the Rock.
The Beavers made that drive look extremely easy. Okay, so that puts a little pressure on Appalachian because they literally just marched on the field. The drive was efficient as this pitch and catch here, throwing out to the flats there. Hatcher catches it, makes a guy miss, gets in the end zone. But that drive was methodical. It was efficient, and it was a quick drive. So that's going to put a little pressure on this Appalachian football team to respond to that drive.
You know, Ryan Gunderson said we can score a variety of ways. We've seen a methodical, drawn-out drive. That was a little quicker tempo. 7 plays, 75 yards, about 3.5 minutes. The PAT from Ojeda good, and we're back to a 3-point affair here at the Rock with 5 minutes and change to go in the third quarter. It's a 1-score affair here in Boone.
Timeout on the field.
Yosef, man of the people, doing a little dance tutorial down there prior to the shaking of hands. Trying to keep everybody energized. 3-point game. Scoreboard's doing plenty of that as well as Kamani Alexander tries to bring a spark to the special teams game. Brings App State out to the 25-yard line. 7-play, 75-yard drive. Got Oregon State right back on the scoreboard. Great drive by Malik Murphy. Good balance of the run and pass. You see Davian Dozier is the story for App State today. 4 catches, 140 yards, averaging 35 yards a catch. And he had that last touchdown that gave the Mountaineers a spark to start this third quarter. So the chess match continues in a tight, even ball game. Both teams answered the bell coming out of the locker room.
It'll be key to see how what they balance this out with this drive, the play calling. It'll be key to see how they keep this Oregon State defense off balance.
Rashad DeBinion, for his 12th touch of the day, takes the run up the far hash to about the 33, 34-yard line. Pickup of, we'll call it 4 yards on first down.
But that is productive. I mean, anytime you can get 3 yards on first down, it keeps the offensive play calling and the drive on schedule.
See Cole, 50% completions today, 207 yards, a pair of touchdowns.
Clarence seems like he's throwing at a higher clip than 50%. It feels like he's throwing at a higher clip than that.
Here's DeBinion right up the middle, got room to run. One man to beat, does that. Trying to get that outside corner. Rashad DeBinion, first down gain. across midfield.
Wow, what great vision and agility by Dominion. Take a look here again. Offensive line does a great job of providing a lane, but watch this cut back here. Watch him making guys miss. Good vision. Now he's going to get walloped here, but you know what? He bounces right back up and he hustles back. But great vision, great balance. Good job by the offensive line.
Conrad Hussey in there on the tackle. First down and 10 for App State from the Beaver 43. Cummings in motion. Hand off to Binion. And he is gobbled up right there at the line of scrimmage. Takari Hickle in on the tackle. He was the first man to him.
That was actually a good job by Dominion. I know people are going to say, gosh, he didn't get any yards, but he was being patient. You saw him bust a run one play ago, so he's probably pumped up, amped up, but he was still patient enough to kind of get into the line, look at his lineman to see if a seam opens up, and then potentially hit that seam. That seam didn't open up, but he was patient. And a lot of times you don't see backs be that patient after a big run.
Trig Lewis on now. Play action fake. Cole looking across the middle. He's got Dozier deep again. Just overthrew him. Nearly another one-hand circus catch as Cole let that one out by about a half yard.
That was a gutsy throw. He had time, good protection by the offensive line, but he threw into double coverage. He had two safeties back there, and again, not sure how Dozier did it. He split the coverage, and had he, could be a little faster, he maybe would have gotten there. But that was a gutsy throw by Cole. So that tells me not only is the play caller going to be gutsy, the players will continue to be very, very aggressive, which is a good thing because you have to finish strong.
Third down and 10 from the 43. Cole with pressure coming to him, has to let that one go to Lewis. Little stiff arm and a twist move to the 31. First down, black and gold. Thomas Collins finally catches up to him. Trig Lewis hitting all of the buttons on the controller for that first down gain.
Good poise and patience by Foles. Take a look here. He's going to feel the pressure coming from the right side, but he takes his time, dumps it there. Good job by Trig Lewis. Again, he's got a big D lineman on his back trying to punch that ball out. He does a good job of hanging onto the football, but pretty good job of running after the catch. You're going to have to tell me one day why they call him Trig Lewis.
Inside the 30 goes Trig there to the
I start having
27.
PTSD as in high school trigonometry. You keep saying Trig.
Maybe he's just really good at trigonometry.
But Trig Lewis, he's tough. Again, he's a nice compliment to Dominion because again he's shifty. He has good vision. He has good leverage after first contact. But he can run between the tackles. But just really good 1-2 punch there by those two guys.
Second down and 5. Dominion was a fake. It's actually Cole on the carry to the 25-yard line. Picks up about 2. Skylar Thomas on the stop there. Dominion took off as a blocker for Cole, who tried to go outside the numbers. Watch Dominion here.
Playing run again.
Let's go, QB.
he probably wanted Dominion to kind of come outside and seal that linebacker, but he didn't get there. But nice play call. That'll keep the safeties and outside linebackers, keep them kind of uncomfortable.
Third down and 5. Mountaineers have converted 2 third downs. They nearly have another one. Dominion trying to catch that ball with one hand and cradle it, and he just could not come up with the football. So that'll bring up 4th and 5. Tricky field territory. Let's see what App State decides to do here. Looks like DeFreitas is going to come out and attempt a long field goal.
It's one of those throws that Cole would want back. They just showed a replay of the throw. Threw it a little too out front. If he could have that one back, he'd throw it straight to Dominion, and he'd still be running. 45-yard
attempt here for DeFreitas. He missed from 41, made from 49. Good snap, good hold, good distance, and that one is straight through. So DeFreitas from 45 stretches the lead to 6. But Avery Hall, in a game like this, you want touchdowns, not field goals. You'll settle for it, but this is an opportunity for Oregon State to potentially take their first lead of the game.
They can take a lead. If they go down and have the same sense of urgency that they've had on the previous 2 drives, they can take the lead. It'll be key for Appalachian's defense to respond here. I'm not sitting here saying you got to go in with the 3 and out, but at least hold them to a field goal or keep them out of the end zone. Again, this ball game is going to probably go down to the last possession because both of these teams have a lot to play for, and both of these teams are playing really well offensively right now.
9 plays, 49 yards, 4:06 off the third quarter clock. 50 seconds left here in this third quarter. You start to play the clock management game again. In thinking about how the flow of this game has worked, you've probably got about 2 possessions each left, something like that.
That's exactly right.
So,
and these coaches know that. But you know, it's interesting. You say you got about 2 possessions. You're going to have to make each possession count. You're going to have to put, like you said, a touchdown or at least a field goal on those 2 possessions.
Cash McVay to kick it away. Return opportunity for Wells. He won't take it. And that's probably by design. Oregon State said, you know, enough special teams today. They've had a couple of miscues there again.
That's smart on his part. Again, they'll get the ball, I think, on the 25. So that's actually smart on his part. Because, again, had he tried to field that, he's probably not going to get out to the 25.
So Malik Murphy and crew get ready to go to work. Murphy, 232 yards, a pair of touchdowns, passer rating of 180.4. Pretty efficient day for him, 19 of 25. Handoff fake to Hankerson. It's Murphy trying to zip a pass across the middle that's incomplete. Intended for Wells. Brings up 2nd down and 10.
Trying to catch Appalachian's defensive backfield off guard, that 3rd level of the defense. Same formation. Tight end to the wide side. They had run Hatcher on that last play. But look, they fake it to him, play action there, and trying to get that receiver cutting across the middle. And had he gotten past that safety, he'd probably still be running had he caught that football.
Hankerson, the release. Out in the flat. Gets below the numbers to the 32-yard line. So he picks up 7, maybe 8 on the spot.
Back in the day, they called that the 90 game, that quick throw, quick release, getting it out in the flats. But Malik was really lucky because he had backside pressure coming, and he barely got that ball off. But good throw and good run after the catch by the receiver there. I think that was Hankerson.
Cam Fleming in on the stop. Last play of the third quarter coming up here. 3rd down and 3. Big play here for both of these squads. Oregon State 1 of 4 on 3rd down today. Play clock goes to 000 just as Malik Murphy gets the ball, and he's frustrated that he couldn't get that play off in time. That'll take us to a break. 15 minutes left in a 6-point game on a beautiful day for football at the Rock. Stick with us. We're back right after this. Oregon State has made their mark here in this third quarter. A methodical scoring drive that has put them within a single scoring possession here as we head into fourth quarter play. It's been dynamic offense here for these Beavers as they found their way into the end zone in the third quarter and trying to convert a third down here as we start the fourth. Third down and 3. Malik Murphy back to pass over toward the sideline. That ball broken up. Ethan Johnson, the legacy player, comes through and bats that one away, just like his old man.
I tell you, great play by Ethan again. Malik was kind of looking off in that direction, and he knew he wanted to come to that corridor of the defense. Take a look here. He's looking the whole time. Again, that deep end. Actually, I'm sorry, the deep out. Again, good job Johnson coming in and breaking that up.
Well, Taz Reddix has had some of the App State's best defenders on him all day long. Nothing has been easy for him. This punt is taken by Barnes. Back up toward the 35-yard line. So the Mountaineers with a 6-point lead and the ball when we come back to Boone. Trent Bray and his Oregon State Beavers in a 6-point game here at Kidd Brewer Stadium. A family and a coach with a lot of legacy there. Trent Bray, of course, a former Beaver himself as a player, a grad assistant, defensive coordinator, all the way up to head coach. He made that trek up actually with just designs on getting the opportunity to be that head coach and lead a program that's meant so much to his family. His father was an offensive coordinator at one point in time as well. He was the first quality control coach that they hired in program history. Actually slept on an assistant coach's couch. They called him his first kid as he was getting his coaching days started. Now Bray and company trying to figure out a way to finish. That was his kind of conversation to his team coming into this week was, we're right there. We are right there. We need something positive to happen. We'll see if it happens in this fourth quarter in a one-score game.
The key is, he's right, he needs something positive to happen, but unfortunately he's playing against an Appalachian team that's in a similar situation. So you got two dogs with their backs against the wall, so they're both grinding and fighting it out, and it makes for a good football game.
Here's DeBinion pushing some of his own blockers out of the way, trying to get through the middle of that Oregon State defensive front. Gets to the 34-yard line. That's actually a loss of a yard. It looked like it was going to be more than that, quite honestly.
You know, you know what Appalachian's coaches are trying to do run, obviously chew up some clock, maybe run and hope they can bust one. But I think on first down, and the next time you touch the football, you're going to have to try and be aggressive so that you can sustain a drive and keep it going.
Cole on 3rd and 11. And that ball slips through the hands of Jaden Barnes. Incomplete, would have been shy of the first down anyway. So App State goes 3 and out. Oregon State gets new life here with 13-31 after they failed to convert on a key 3rd down.
It's tougher because the defense is going to be a little more prepared when it comes to that 3rd down and long versus trying to kind of catch them off guard on first down. So next possession, you got to be a little more aggressive around on that first down versus what we presented this time. But it'll be interesting to see how Oregon State responds here.
Ian Ratliff, a line drive punt to the 25-yard line. His 3rd of the day will set up Oregon State with a chance to drive in a one-possession game. Kid Brewer Stadium, they're all on their feet here for the final stretch of this one. Trent Walker and the Oregon State Beavers back out on the field here for a key possession early 4th quarter. Walker's had quite the day. 9 catches, 121 yards, better than 13 yards a catch. He's caught 9 of 10 balls thrown to him today by Malik Murphy and Avery Hall. He's had to get quite ambidextrous a few times to go down and get some of those and bend backwards and twist around. These have not been easy grabs for the Beaver wide receiver.
He would have liked some better position balls, but he's made the most of it. Like you said, 10 targets, 9 catches.
And there he is right on cue and has some room to run up toward midfield. Walker's 10th catch of the game moves the sticks toward the midfield logo for Oregon State.
He does a great job of just working and finding a way. Take a look here. Malik drops back the pass, quick throw. But again, Trent just does a great job of finding a spot, a soft spot in that zone coverage, hunkering down, catching the ball, and trying to get some yard after catch.
Malik Murphy, 21 of 29 in the passing game, better than 70% completion percentage so far. Play action fake. Murphy with time as pressure starts to come. Heaves one up down the field, and that ball is tipped and incomplete. Nearly picked. DJ Burks had a fingertip on it. But you got to give credit to Zach Card, who actually became the defensive back on the play in a way and tried to knock that ball down after he knew he wasn't going to be able to catch it.
Blake tries to get rid of that one quickly. A little pressure. Good job by Burks there.
Yeah, Card made hard contact there to dislodge everything.
Trying to go up at the high point. Just couldn't reel that one in.
So 2nd down and 10 for the Beavers from their own 48. Right near midfield, down 6. Here's Murphy again. Little quicker pass. Walker toward the boundary, thrown into the Mountaineer sideline. About a yard shy. No, they'll give him the first down gain right to the 41-yard line.
Taking advantage of Trent's ability to run good routes. Again, it was man-to-man coverage. Take a look here. Man-to-man coverage. He does a good job of taking that double move. Looked like he's going inside, going back out. Good throw by Malik Murphy to kind of put him in a position to catch the ball and continue to run.
Emory Floyd with the sideline tackle. First down and 10, Oregon State. 42-yard line of App State territory. Touchdown ties it. Here's a pass to Reddix. That ball dislodged. App State comes away with it, but they're going to say that was an incomplete pass, I believe. Reddix never had control.
That was a great.
DJ Burks was right there, though.
DJ Burks does a great job of coming up and making an. He dropped that ball. Ooh, we got lucky. No targeting there. And hopefully they can run this play real quick so they don't review that. But great job of coming up immediately and making a great play.
Hold that thought. Our first replay stoppage of the day.
You knew it was coming, but that was, you got to be careful with targeting there.
So again, DJ Burks is the player they just have announced in the stadium. They are going to review this play for targeting.
I hate that I brought it up because now I feel like I jinxed him. But you gotta believe that they're going to look at that, because that's the crown of his helmet hitting the receiver, and they're going to say the receiver was defenseless because he had dropped the ball. I hope that I am wrong. I hope that I am wrong.
David Pachetsky, the replay official, we got a chance to talk with them before the game today, and you know, App State had a couple of targeting calls against them in that opener against Charlotte. Dowell Logan said they went back and did a lot of review over technique in the weeks after that to make sure that what is a split-second move, that players are at least thinking about the right things from a fundamental standpoint to try to put themselves in a position where bang contact like that isn't targeted.
Yeah, I will tell you, what's poignant is that tackle there would have gotten you a helmet sticker when I played, because it was an aggressive tackle. And now you take a look at this tackle.
Here's John
review, personal foul, targeting, defense, number 21, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down. Number 21 is disqualified.
Yeah, that crown of the helmet, and they're going to say he was defenseless because he had already dropped the ball. You get to get that call all the time. But again, that was a type tackle back, like I said, when I played, would get you a slobber knocker sticker on your helmet at any level. But unfortunately, that's considered targeting now.
So DJ Burks out of the game after the personal foul and targeting call. He's had 3 tackles today and been around a lot of other action. Here's Hankerson coming right back to work. Beavers inside the 25 now as Hankerson rushes for about 6 yards on the play. Hankerson again earlier today went over the yardage mark to put himself inside the top 25 all time at Oregon State. 10 carries today, 54 yards. Was out briefly with an injury, kind of rolled up on the sideline, but he has come back in and not lost a step. See Cam Fleming in that backfield, taking some of that time away from DJ Burks. Second down and 5. Murphy thought about the quick slant, now goes across the middle, and that pass is out of bounds, incomplete. Flag comes in late. Gabe Milborn was sent to the ground as he went for the football, and I think they may get Has here for pass interference. Ball was well overthrown. We'll see. John Love is going to have all of his calls scrutinized here for the final 11-19.
Every call is going to be amplified.
Pass interference, defense, number 8, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So Dylan has indeed called. Here's the play.
Again, he gets there a little early. But is that ball catchable?
I think it's the contact on the back kind of pushed him forward, knocked him out of his running room. So that penalty, 2 of them on this drive, will take Oregon State inside the 10-yard line. Ball spotted at the 7, first and goal. 11-19 to go. Beavers can tie with a touchdown. They have not led yet today. They got down 17-0 to start. Here's Hankerson, slow playing, spinning to the 6-yard line. Colton Ferris in on the tackle for App State.
That was good gap coverage there by the defensive line, allowing the linebackers to flow. Take a look here. Again, not too many seams or gaps to run in. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. From a gap responsibility, no running lane. Good stop on first down.
Marching Mountaineers staring these Oregon State Beavers in the face, screaming at them too as they come up to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and goal from the 6. Murphy under center for the first time today. Little play action fake. Across the middle, going for the tight end, can't find him. Gabe Milburn was twisted around the wrong way. A little softer touch needed on that pass from Murphy. 3rd and goal from the 6.
Gabe Miller had done a good job. Take a look at this. Gabe Miller had done a great job of separating from that linebacker. A poor throw by Malik. And lucky for Appalachian, that was a poor throw because, again, he had done a great job of kind of creating separation there from number 13.
Oregon State huddling up. You can sense it. A team that's been snake bitten this year. They've had a couple of winnable games last week in the driver's seat until the final 6 minutes. Can they punch this across on 3rd and goal? Hankerson in the backfield. Murphy back to pass. Twisting away from pressure. Throws one up in the air, and it is tipped around and picked. Intercepted by App State in the end zone. Colton Ferris comes away with it.
Wow. You have to give kudos to the defensive line.
Rolling on the field.
They rushed with 4 down linemen. As you can see here, put an inordinate amount of pressure on Malik, making him throw off his back foot, not able to step into his throw. Good job by the defenders there. Again, knocking that ball down or knocking it into the hands of number 10 there, Colton Ferris.
Dylan Manuel in there in that pursuit. You know, you give credit to Gabe Milburn, who looked like he was boxing out underneath the goal, man. He started clearing guys away.
He really did. I'm surprised they didn't call pass interference because you're right. He looked like he was a power forward or post trying to clear out the lane.
Need to put him back to the basket.
But that almost could have been offensive pass interference as well.
Game like this that's been so tightly contested to come down to basically a jump ball. At least at this juncture, we still have 10.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, and App State up 6. The Mountaineers looking to sustain a drive here. Give that defense some time off the field.
A field goal at least would help the cause if Appalachian can sustain a nice drive here and get up the points.
6-point affair. First carry, a handoff to DeBinion. His 16th carry of the day. He's just shy of 100 yards. That may put him over the mark, as a matter of fact. Picked up 3 on the play. DeBinion, like we said, is averaging about 22 carries a game. That's 3rd most in the FBS, 4th most yardage coming into play today at just over 128. He's rushed for 100 yards plus in 3 of his 4 App State games. And DeBinion, like a little pinball, trying to get through to the 24-yard line. Picks up 2 more, brings up 3rd down and 7. Clock rolling inside 9:40.
Clock is rolling. Again, you know, you got 2 conservative plays. I was a former defensive lineman, probably for a reason, not an offensive coordinator. But think about it. I would like to see Appalachian be a little more aggressive on first down, because now you're in 3rd down. It's 3rd and 7. Defensive linemen gonna get up on their toes and put a little pressure on. Have a little more excitement, engagement. DB's looking for you to throw now.
Cole with
you don't
plenty
catch
of
him
time.
off guard.
Pocket begins to collapse. Cole going to take off and try to run for it himself. Stretches the ball out. It'll depend on the spot. Tried to get to the 30, and they're going to give him the 31. Should be a first down if that spot sticks.
Give him the 29.
Gave him the 29. That'll be a yard short. Earlier in the game, Dowell Loggins went for it on 4th and 1 in similar territory. This time around, not going to do it. So after the interception in the end zone, Oregon State's defense, which has bailed them out on many occasions today, has come up with a key 3 and out. It's really been the Oregon State defense that has been the spark for what the offense has been able to put together. Ratliff's punt away. Kind of a saw blade taken by Walker at the 35. So good field position with 8:39 to go. Oregon State right back with the football, down 6 here at Kid Brewer Stadium in Boone. What you are unable to see in this picture is that none of these people have fingernails. They've chewed them all off. It's been that tight of a game here at Kid Brewer Stadium today. We're glad you're with us. David Jackson, Avery Hall, our entire ESPN crew here chronicling what has been a back-and-forth affair after it looked like it was going to be a boat race early. 17-0 App State got out in front. Oregon State scored the next 14 points, made it a 3-point game at halftime, and then it's been kind of back and forth, maintaining a one-possession margin the entire time. So here we go. Beavers with the football, down 6. A touchdown ties it. Picked off in the end zone on their last possession. And now a pass to David Wells, sails incomplete, thrown a little bit behind it.
I take good pressure by the outside linebacker coming up out of his coverage position and put pressure on Malik Murphy, forcing him to throw that before he really wanted to throw it. Take a look here. He's rolling out. Again, he has to throw that before he really wants to. Good pressure by the outside linebacker.
2nd down and 10 coming up. Ball at the App State 35, and now a whistle and a brief stoppage. We can tell you today that Trent Walker has been nothing short of fantastic. A career best 154 yards on 11 catches, better than 14 yards per catch. Walker, the heartbeat of this team. He said earlier this week when talking about the 0-5 start, he said it starts with belief.
We're going to switch sides.
Said that this was not the way that he envisioned the finish to his career. A lifelong Oregon State fan that has wanted this moment to kind of ride out into the sunset with a winning passion and displayed through victories on the scoreboard. He's trying to single-handedly turn it around right now. Oregon State's schedule gets a lot easier after this week as well. They played the 6th toughest. They have one of the nation's lightest schedules moving forward. So, again, a win on the road would snap a 6-game losing streak away from Corvallis and maybe start something. That's at least what Trent Bray is thinking as Hatcher goes and attacks the line of scrimmage and gets stopped for about a half-yard loss.
Good penetration.
Dylan has on the stop. Good
penetration by the defense again. Even front, two, the 3 technique and 1 technique on the guard. Good pressure, not giving any room to run there. Good job by the linebacker slowing to the ball.
Hills bells ring on 3rd down here at the Rock. 3rd and 10 from the App State, or rather from the Oregon State 35. Malik Murphy going to call everybody back together with 12 on the play clock. Each team with all 3 timeouts. Under 8 minutes to go. Play clock down to 3. Murphy gets it off just in time. Heaves one down the field. That ball is tipped and caught. A self-tip to Trent Walker. Deflected it to himself and hauls it in across midfield for a first down gain.
That's just good concentration by Trent Walker.
There's a flag on the play, though, so hold everything.
Offside defense in the neutral zone at the snap. The penalty is declined.
So the offside penalty will be declined. That's the 6th technically whistled against App State today.
Again, that last catch was just good concentration. Malik's going to get hit right as he releases the football. That's a tip drill, but tipping it to yourself, that's just good concentration.
20-yard pickup.
Good, really tight coverage, but that's just a playmaker making a play.
Redshirt senior from Portland has his team across midfield. 1st and 10 Beavers from the 45 of App State territory. Malik Murphy's thrown for 292 now and a pair of touchdowns. Drops back 3 steps. A swing pass complete. And tackled from behind is Eddie Freehoff. He had a circus catch earlier today. Emery Floyd marked him from behind. It's his 3rd catch of the afternoon.
It's man-to-man coverage, and Emery having to go all the way across the field to cover. Freehoff does a good job of really tackling him as quickly as possible after the catch. 7-yard
pickup brings up 2nd down and 3. Just inside the Mountaineer 40. Clock under 7 minutes now. 5th play of the drive. Murphy with pressure coming to him, eludes it and heaves and completes a pass. Rolling grab over near the Oregon State sideline. Taz Reddix uses a shovel to get that one off the ground.
Tell you what, Malik Murphy, 6'5", 240 pounds. He just kind of moved with a lot of agility here. Watch him dropping back, feels the pressure, steps up, takes a quick step, side step out, releases a good ball. Good athletic catch by Reddick there.
Redshirt sophomore, key grab here to keep the drive moving forward. 1st and 10 from the 24. Hand off to Hankerson. Tries to stutter step, still on his feet. Maintains his balance to the 21-yard line. Good yardage after the catch. It doesn't mean a whole lot in terms of a big number, but he was able to scrap and claw for about 3 yards after he was stuffed at the original line of scrimmage.
Hankerson has been good at that his entire career. Yard after initial contact. I mean, he has good, strong legs. He's a small guy. I think he's like 5'8", so he's built close to the ground, good leverage, and does a good job of just getting additional yardage.
Hankerson's 15th touch on the day, 12 rushes, 3 passes caught. Now it's Cordell Hatcher in the backfield. As Murphy drops back, again plenty of time. Walker on the release across the middle and has it at the 15-yard line.
Walker
probably a yard shy. Walker is hurt.
He's hurt.
I think he might have had a similar situation where somebody rolled up the back of his foot. Ethan Johnson was there on the coverage. Walker hobbling off. 3rd down coming up. 3rd and 1 from inside the 15. A huge moment in this game with under 5 minutes to go. Can Oregon State keep the drive alive? Handoff, Hankerson leans across and gets to the 14, and that should be enough for a 1st down. It was the spin off the back of that App State line of scrimmage that gets the veteran Anthony Hankerson the 1st down gain. And that's a veteran move. That's a senior knowing even though you're stopped, movement can still propel you forward.
There's always a seam somewhere, and Appalachian had put Big Saint Ferrier, who's 6'3", 335 pounds, has come out of the game now. They had put him in the game to kind of clog that middle to eat up some space. But like you said, Hankerson did just a great job of just spinning off, finding a little seam enough to get that 1st down.
So we have a stoppage here. They're going to do a replay review and check the spot of the ball. Let's see what we can see here. Hankerson spins off the pile. His elbow comes down. Maybe a little shy of the 14-yard line. If so, you're talking 4th and inches. If not, you're talking 1st down inside the red zone.
If it's 4th down and inches, I'm sure they're going to go for it.
This is one of those times where the talking heads will advocate for the chip inside the ball that could spot this thing like GPS style. You don't have to worry about, you know, somebody falling forward a little bit as they put the ball down on the field. Some of those traditions get in the way on occasion.
I'll tell you what.
But also credit them for stopping the play and getting this right, because it's a pivotal moment in the game. With 4:22 left, even an inch here is a difference for Oregon State, having a fresh set of downs to work with or having to go nail-biter time once again on 4th and short. And in a 6-point game with 4:22 to go, you got to go for it at that point.
Yep. I'm kind of wondering if his butt hit, and they may be looking at that ball when his butt hit. The ball could have been close to the 15-yard line versus 14.
Here's John Love.
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld. First down.
So the ruling upheld means no indisputable evidence to change the nature of the spot. So Oregon State gets the first down at the App State 14, 4:22 to play. Fresh set of downs. Again down in this territory on the previous drive. Malik Murphy pressured, threw an interception in the back corner of the end zone. But Oregon State has come right back up off the mat and put themselves in the position again. Anthony Hankerson, a setback, splits off as Murphy runs away from trouble. Pass is caught by Card inside the 10. He's spun down at the 7 on the far boundary by Colton Fairs. Zach Card, the redshirt sophomore from Brentwood, Georgia, on the tackle.
Good pressure. I mean, take a look here again. Malik is rolling out, but he has to accelerate things here because has a lot of pressure in front of him. Just good job of running through the route, number 12, and a good throw by Murphy.
Big Rondo Porter chasing after him from the D tackle spot. 2nd down and 3, 7-yard gain. Hankerson on the bottom side of your screen this time. Murphy will hand it off to the senior back, trying to get that outside corner and stopped at the 5-yard line.
Is that enough for the first down? Looks like he may have gotten the first down.
Benton in on the stop. They'll mark the football at the 3. That should be 1st and goal. And it will be 1st and goal, Oregon State. Clock continuing to roll. Again, a touchdown ties it. PAT puts Oregon State ahead.
Feels like that clock is moving much faster now than it was just 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Funny how that works, isn't it? Snap to Murphy. Handoff Hankerson. Left side run, trying to get through and cannot. McCantos in on the stop. Brayshawn Littlejohn, rather. Littlejohn on the tackle right at the 1-yard line. So that'll keep the clock going, and you wonder.
Timeout for an injury.
There's an injury timeout. We're also about to have the 2-minute stoppage come up here as well. There's an injured Oregon State Beaver down on the field. So we'll hold everything here, kind of play time management game a little bit. Now, I'll also bring up that, and I'm sure it's sitting well within the mental space of all of the Oregon State fans watching this, special teams has not been kind to them this year. So this is by no means a gimme situation. You score, you kick a PAT. Ojeda has been perfect on PATs this year, but field goals not so much. He's missed another one today. So you gotta get it all the way through before Oregon State could potentially take their first lead of the game with under 2.5 minutes to go.
When you're 0-5, your football teams had turnover issues, had other issues with being efficient on offense and on special teams. You're always nervous as you head into the final minute of a close ball game, a one possession ball game, as should Appalachian State folks. I mean, this is a game where the team has played well enough to win, and they've got to fight through the next 2.5 minutes to try and preserve a win.
That injured player was Jacob Strand, the left tackle, so he'll come off. 2nd and goal from the 1. A touchdown ties it. Clock rolling inside 2:15. Full house backfield with Murphy in the shotgun. Now Murphy will split off. Direct snap. Hankerson across, and he is stopped short. Couldn't get across the line of scrimmage, and is actually pushed back about a half yard. And that'll be the final play before this 2-minute stoppage. So take a breath, refill your drink. We're back here in a few with the final part of a nail biter in Boone. Back to action here at Kid Brewer Stadium. 3rd down and inches for Oregon State. Full house backfield again. Murphy in the shotgun, they'll do the same thing. Direct snap coming to Hankerson. This time he's trying to run it right. And he is tackled right on the line of scrimmage. They'll say he got across. Touchdown, Oregon State. Anthony Hankerson takes it in from 1 yard out.
That's just power football. Who wants it? And Appalachian played tough, but again, just power football. And Hankerson does a good job of. No, it does not look like he got in the end zone.
Well, they haven't whistled, called the replay yet. Now they just have.
Wow.
Looks like. Here comes the replay.
It does not look like he got in.
Replay coming out.
Under review.
Hold everything here.
Wow.
We're going to take a second and put this under the hood.
You know, when you first look at it from our angle, it looks like he rolled into the end zone. But when you look at this shot here, good solid tackle, and the ball touches short of the goal line.
Yeah, that should bring up 4th and inches with 1:56 to play.
The thing is, they've got to use as broadcast partner use this angle because they can't use the jumbotron. But clearly, there's a shot there that reflects that ball did not cross the plane before he was down.
They've got a couple of other cameras that are available to them here inside the stadium that are tied into just replay. Broadcast piece is a part of that. And every venue has a different amount of cameras. So we'll see what we've got here. Again, the referee today, John Love, taking some time as they show the replays. And here is the review coming from Mr. Love.
After review, the runner was short of the goal line with the ball at the half-yard line. It's 4th down.
So that'll bring up 4th down and inches. Hold everything here. This is the ball game right here. So App State maintains a 27-21 lead, and now App State is going to take a timeout. They're first of the half, so they've got 2 more remaining. So we have seen 2 direct snaps to Hankerson in the last couple of plays. Where do you feel like the Oregon State coaching staff and Ryan Gunderson go this time around?
I tell you what, it'd be tough to go 3 times to the well. I anticipate we need to be careful that they don't throw it to Malik Murphy or some other receiver out in a pass route on this next play. Now, we also have to be careful not to jump off sides, because they're going to try and do a hard count to get a little closer, or get that automatic first down. But you got to be careful not to jump off sides.
This is the 4th power team that has come to Kid Brewer Stadium to play. Miami, North Carolina, Wake Forest in there. 3 of those games have come down to 1 possession. 1 of them was decided by 1 point. So what I'm saying is buy your tickets when these games come around. They're usually pretty good. All right, so 4th and inches the call. Malik Murphy and crew out.
We need to be Appalachian needs to be as loud as possible right now.
Listen to these fans here at the Rock. Oregon State trying to tie it up on 4th and inches. Hankerson the setback. Murphy splits out. Hankerson gets the direct snap, right side run, and he is going to be stopped. Tackle for loss at the 3, and the Mountaineers get the 4th down stand.
Wow. What a way to hopefully end this football game. Still got 1 minute and 49 seconds left, but that was a heck of a defensive stand by Appalachian State. It doesn't get any better than that if you're a defensive player. Outstanding penetration by the defensive line. Linebackers are able to still flow in the congested area. Great job coming up by number 6. Number 4, I'm sorry.
Miles Farmer got his hands on that leg and wasn't going to let go.
Outstanding job.
So now you've got 1:49 to play in a tricky territory. It's a 6-point game, so a safety doesn't necessarily, reverse the scoring right away.
But it would give them the ball.
It would give them the ball in a 4-point game. Right.
So you got to lean forward.
Tricky territory.
And they've got how many timeouts?
They've got 2 timeouts. App State has 2 timeouts. Oregon State all 3. Rashad DeBinion, the carry. And positive progress gets him out maybe to the line of scrimmage. They'll call it the 3-yard line. So a pickup of nothing, actually. Back to the original line of scrimmage and a timeout Oregon State. With 1:44 to go, they'll use their first of 3. So again, strategy-wise, we have seen App State get very simplified with their offense in running DeBinion up the middle. DeBinion has had now 18 carries for 101 yards, so he has gone over the 100-yard mark for the 4th time on this season.
And in this position of the field, you got to be careful throwing it horizontally because you don't want them to pick it off. You have to be careful going vertical because you don't want them to pick it off. You also want to be as creative as you can because you're going to need a first down, or you're going to have to punt from your end zone. Yeah. And that's always true.
Oregon State's offense isn't done yet.
Yeah, they're not done yet. So this is going to be a critical. Now this is where game managers, this is where coaches earn their money, being clear and strategic here around what they do.
Rashad DeBinion about 5 yards deep in the end zone, maybe more than that, as Cole gets the snap, hands it off to him. He's popped right at the line of scrimmage. The ball comes out, and it's taken by Cole, recovered in the end zone, and that's a safety. First turnover of the day comes down inside the 5-yard line as DeBinion was rocked at the 2. Cole falls on the ball, and now Oregon State gets 2 points, makes it a 27-23 game, and they'll get the ball.
I don't understand the depth of the running back here. in this formation here, I would surmise that you'd want to put your running back as close to the line of scrimmage as you can, and really encourage your big guys up front to do some damage and knocking the defensive line off the ball. I don't think I would have gone 5 yards deep in the end zone on that.
Aiden Sullivan forced the fumble. He's had a monster of a 3-game run now. That's the biggest play of the season for Oregon State, and he came through with it.
Wow.
Knocked that ball loose. App State, again, we've touched on this several times throughout the broadcast. That's the 15th turnover of the, well, it's, I guess, technically not a turnover. It's recovered for a safety in the end zone, but still, fumble on the play that cost App State 2 points and gives possession back on this punt away to Oregon State.
Now,
got some playmakers in the backfield, too.
Now, I know a lot of folks are not going to agree with me, but Oregon State had 2 timeouts, right? Suppose he doesn't fumble. They call a timeout. We run it again. They call a timeout. We just have to punt. At least we're punting or kicking from the 20 versus in our end zone. A lot of people aren't going to look at it that way, but I'm just telling you, that's one way, a different perspective to think about.
Here's Wells from the 20, up the middle 40, trying to get that corner 43-yard line. And so Oregon State down 4 points, needs a touchdown to win. With 1:34 to play and 2 timeouts. Malik Murphy threw an interception in the end zone earlier in this second half. 27 of 39 passing, 325 yards. Oregon State with 2 timeouts remaining. Mountaineers with 2 as well. So here comes that App State defense after a 4th down stand. Offense couldn't bail them out of tricky field position. Gave up 2 points on the safety, and here we go again. Malik Murphy, 300-yard passing day today. Quick pass, and that's complete to midfield to Eddie Freehoff. Emery Floyd runs him out of bounds. That's a 8-yard pickup for Freehoff. 4th catch on his day for 56 yards. 2nd and 2 for Oregon State. On the Mountaineer 49-yard line. Murphy heaving toward the sideline. That ball is tipped away and incomplete. Intended for Wells on the boundary. Juan Burchell on the stop for App State. He deflected it.
Good job by Burchell using the sideline as a defender. Again, he knows where that ball is being thrown. He does a good job of turning around, not getting a PI, but really utilizing that sideline as that defensive help.
3rd down and 2. Oregon State needs to get the 47-yard line to move the chains. Murphy in an empty backfield. Tight end offset right. Now Hankerson drifts back and goes in motion.
Illegal.
And that's a whistle and a flag.
That's going to be
a legal motion.
Yeah, that's going to be a legal
That's a
motion.
costly penalty on 3rd and 2.
Absolutely.
Here's John Love.
False start offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Van Wells, the center, called with that. Dowell Loggins just hoping that clock ticks down. Oregon State has not won on the road since the beginning of last season. Now with a 3rd and 7. Murphy with 3 wide low. Pressure coming. Ball is away. It's caught. 1st down and more. Twisting away his card, and he's inside the 40-yard line.
Decent pressure on Malik Murphy. He just does a great job of getting that football off.
Clock is rolling toward the 110 mark. 3 wide up top this time for Oregon State. 1st down and 10 inside the App State 40. Murphy with plenty of time. Pass complete across the 30-yard line. Inside that to the 27. That's Renix on the catch. McCantos in coverage. And a timeout taken, an injured player.
Okay, maybe that was
timeout
a 1st
for
down.
injury of the offense.
A timeout taken here, or a stoppage with 1 minute to go for an injury. In a 4-point game, Oregon State driving. They've amassed 470 yards of offense today. Crisp second half. It's just about trying to finish. And that's the message right now in that Oregon State huddle. Finish this game.
You know, it's you were talking about 1-point games against Power 4 teams, and I remember leaving after the Chapel Hill game, leaving after the Wake Forest game, and you know, you kind of felt like, you know, you saw a good football game. But this one would probably feel a little different if they push an end zone for Appalachian, because Appalachian really had this ball game under control up until about the midpoint of the second quarter.
Jacob Strand is the offensive lineman walking out. He came off the field a little earlier, tried to give it a go again, and he's walking off a little slower this time around. So that means a new left tackle in for Oregon State on first down and 10. I tell you, you got to give Malik Murphy a lot of credit for standing in on that 3rd down and 7. Taking some pressure and converting that key 3rd down to keep this drive alive. 4 plays, 29 yards. Still got a little ways to go. Ball on the 28-yard line of App State territory.
The previous play is under review to review the spot.
I'm glad they're challenging that spot. I thought it was just, and here's the thing. You know, if the spot was wrong, the clock stopped. And so, you know, you say, I'm glad they're correcting it, but some time could have gone off the clock.
Well, and the clock was stopped for the injury, too.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But without the injury, the clock would have continued to run.
And, you know, if I'd have gotten up 10 minutes earlier, I'd have mowed my grass today.
I did mow my grass this morning. How about that?
Tell you, that replay room has been awfully active here today. A couple of times that we've reviewed spots, there was a targeting call. App State has done all of this defensive work here in the 4th quarter without DJ Burks. He was ejected for targeting what seems like hours ago. It was really only about 15 minutes of clock time. That's pretty much the look of everybody right now, just patiently waiting. That baby wants to go home. Mom says, not yet. Not yet. This game's not over. We stay at the Rock until the end. You go back and think about just some incredible plays just in the 4th quarter alone. You got the interception, the tip interception in the end zone that App State got. You got a 4th down stand by the Mountaineers. You got Oregon State converting on some key 3rd down plays. Their resilience from a defensive standpoint to keep giving their offense the ball and a chance. I think that's what will get lost in the overall narrative of this if you just look at the box score and see, 470 yards and all this stuff. It's about timing as much as anything, and Oregon State's defense has shown up on time several times today. We had a whale of a football game if you didn't care about who won, but quite honestly, if you're watching this, I'm sure you've got allegiance to one of these teams.
Again, you've got 2 football teams that just got so much to play for. A 2-2 Appalachian football team and an 0-5 Oregon State football team, both looking for opportunities to change their.
John Love has got some important words here about the spot.
After review, the runner was short of a 1st down. It will be 2nd and 1. Because this occurred with a review under 1 minute, a 10-second runoff does apply. Oregon State is not using a timeout. Timer, please reset the clock to 50 seconds. It will start on my signal.
So there you go. That takes care of some of your time issue. 10-second runoff. No usage of the timeout. Oregon State has 2 remaining. 2nd and 1 from just inside the 28-yard line of App State territory. Murphy ready in the shotgun with Hankerson off his right. The give is to Hankerson. And he's going to be awfully close to that line of scrimmage. It'll depend on the spot. Again, they're calling it the 29. The line to gain is the 28. And a timeout taken by Oregon State with 37 seconds left. Brayshawn Littlejohn had the tackle.
30 seconds.
Big 37 seconds here.
They'll reset. I think he just asked for a reset to 40, if I'm not mistaken. But he said it fast. We'll see if that's the case. So third down is indeed the call. The line to gain is a yard away. What Oregon State has struggled in short yardage situations here lately. You know, they've got Jake Reichel on the roster as a short yardage option. He lined up in the full house backfield a couple of times on those goal line plays, but has yet to have his number called. He actually had a short yardage touchdown last week against Houston, a 3-yard gain. But instead they've stuck with Hankerson, and why not? He's one of the best running backs ever in the program. But the sledding has been tough inside that interior. And again, we'll point back to turnovers and interior play today being the top two things.
Please reset the game clock to 39
Two key critical things. And both teams have kind of, particularly Appalachian State, off those turnovers and played clean football. But it also has come down to the offensive defensive line, as we talked about earlier. These guys have played hard. And this is going to be huge, too, because right now you're really focused on the short yardage, but you don't want a receiver to get behind the safety. In the Appalachian defense being so focused on stopping the short yardage play here.
Third down and a yard, clock adjusted to 39 seconds. And now a whistle and a timeout taken by App State.
Timeout, Appalachian State, their second.
Yeah, they looked like they had a little confusion in the secondary. And really, when you know you have a short yardage situation, 3rd and 1, 39 seconds, ball on the 29-yard line, you really don't want anybody to get behind you. Looked like they had a little confusion in the secondary, so that was a wise timeout by Appalachian State.
Quick public service announcement: if you put your dinner in the microwave oven or potentially on a stovetop with about 2 minutes to go in this game, you better check it because it's probably burnt. This has taken a while, but with good reason. Nail-biting affair coming down to the last few seconds, the last few ticks of the clock. So App State with 1 timeout remaining. Oregon State with 1 timeout remaining. 4-point game. 3rd and 1 from the App State 29. Malik Murphy in the shotgun. Got Cornell Hatcher off his right hip this time, and we'll check into a new play with about 15 on the play clock. Claps for the snap. Pass off in the flat, broken up. McCantos got a body on Cornell Hatcher as he went to catch the football. It's 4th and 1.
That was a great play by McCantos. Take a look here again. He sees that he's throwing out, the backs come out of the backfield. Great job on Hatcher coming up, and Hatcher's strong too, so coming up and making a sound tackle there.
4th and 1. This is a ball game kind of play right here. Oregon State needs to convert on 4th and short to keep the game alive. Hatcher off the bottom left. Murphy gets the shotgun snap. With time, fires a pass off, it's overthrown, and complete. Flags on the play. We wouldn't have it any other way. 30 seconds to go.
Wow.
Flags come in from the far boundary. Elijah McCantos has been on nearly every tackle for the last 2 series.
Pass interference, defense number 13. Penalized at the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
Be curious to see this replay. It looked like the receiver fell on his own. Let's take a look at this. He fell on his own. That was not.
So 1st and 10 now for Oregon State. Ball at the App State 25. Malik Murphy in trouble, and he's dropped at the 40-yard line. Sacked. Time out, Oregon State.
That's the last one.
Rondo Porter got to him.
Tell you what, Rondo Porter, 6 foot 295.
Timeout.
That's just kind of what you have to do. Be a space eater, but get upfield and add value as a interior defensive lineman. Put pressure on the quarterback from inside. That's an awesome play by Porter.
I absolutely love when you get a chance to shine a light on a D lineman making a play like that.
They work hard.
They
keep those offensive linemen off linebackers so they can flow. But it's nice when you can go ahead and see a defensive lineman get some good penetration, and make a play. And it's a critical situation. You got to love it.
13-yard loss on the play, first sack for App State today. This crowd at Kidd Brewer Stadium, 35,021. It's the 6th largest crowd in Kidd Brewer Stadium in history, and there'll be about 45,000 that say they were here for this one. 24 seconds left. Oregon State out of timeouts. That's important to think about. If any catches are made in bounds, Malik Murphy and crew will have to get to the ball and spike it potentially.
Reset the game clock to 26 seconds.
We're going to put 2 extra seconds on the clock and call it 26 seconds.
Thank you.
John Love got a little aggressive there with, he couldn't get the timer's attention there for a second, so now he's making up for that.
We got to make sure he's not from Corvallis, because I didn't like the pass interference call.
Second down and 23 from the 38. Still in App State territory. Murphy gets a shotgun snap. Got a little bit more time. Off his back foot, he throws, and that ball is bounced around and taken away by App State. Walker is down. Zaire Gamble came away with it. The deflected pass is called an interception, and App State may have just won the game, but hold everything. Trent Walker is hurt. Walker is hurt. There's still 19 seconds left on the clock.
Take a look here. Outstanding play.
Gamble keeps the football, so that is an interception.
Juan Burkall, great job of dislodging that football from Walker. Good concentration here by, I'm trying to figure out, see the number here. Good concentration by Zaire Gamble to hang on to that football, and smart move just to get down.
So Zaire Gamble gets credited with the interception, and he had to tip it all around his fingertips and hold on to it. Slid down with 19 seconds to go, but really the more important thing right now is that Trent Walker is hurt. He got rocked on that play, and the Oregon State medical staff is huddled up over top of him, with now Coach Bray coming over as well. But the game that young man has played,
he's had a heck of a football game. You pray that he's okay.
And with the back and forth manner of this game, this is not, an injury is not what you want to see at the very end. But for now, there's Walker popping up, and boy, that's a good thing to see. He's walking off.
Glad to
under
see
his own power.
Walking off on his own power again. He took a shot.
Look at his numbers today. 13 receptions, 179 yards.
Young man played his heart out. Played his heart out, left it all on the field. And so you're glad that he's okay. And Appalachian needs to be smart and run out the clock and make sure they're happy being a Mountaineer on a Saturday night.
19 seconds to go. How about J.J. Cole today? Winning his first start, 13 of 28 passing, 218. He managed the offense well. App State will go into the victory formation with no Oregon State timeouts left, and one knee will do it. And that is the end of what has been a magnificent game here at Kidd Brewer Stadium today. 27-23 the final. App State's first victory at home over a power team. And Avery Hall, it came with some theatrics to it. Your final thoughts on this one?
Tell you what, eliminated the turnovers, played clean football, converted on third down, and they were efficient, more efficient. Dozier provided another opportunity, another weapon for any quarterback that's playing at Appalachian. DeBinion continued to do what he's doing, and hats off to the total defense for what they've done, what they did today in stopping Oregon State in critical situations. Just good complementary football, special teams, offense and defense. Just what a great way to rebound from a tough loss out in Boise, Idaho. So great way to respond by this Mountaineer football team.
An amazing ball game. We're glad that you were with us for it. As the Bib DeBoonies hit the field, we say farewell. For producer Omar Elmore, analyst Avery Hall, and our fantastic crew here in Boone, I'm David Jackson saying so long from the Rock, where App State holds on for a 27-23 win over Oregon State. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Good night from the Rock.